all of us. Don's
Did he
not
push
ready.
that button over there?
it's okay.
No, we're on. We're on.
I guess I need to figure out what went wrong over here. But anyway, hello and good morning and welcome to the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, a roundtable discussion about SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Marketing Association in Las Vegas, a huge, basically, car show. Erica Ender's 5th World Pro Stock Championship.
There you go. I saw that live.
And we got some other things that we're going to spring on you, and I think that you're going to enjoy the show today. Mr. Mars reviews the 2023 Grand Wagoneer. Notice I didn't say the Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
Well, you just did.
It just is the Grand Wagoneer, because that's all it says on the outside of the car. Conrad has the events calendar. Later we'll have a look at the stories making automotive news headlines. Well, howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin always. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. Thank you very much. It's been a frightful hour sitting in the studio this morning because, as usual, we've had some sort of a hiccup. I'm putting that mildly and cleanly, a hiccup with all of the. See, everybody's got a computer.
I've never smelled a hiccup like that before.
It smelled really bad, didn't it? Anyway, so it's going to be a great show, I'm sure. I'm just feeling it deep down inside me. How about you?
Oh, yeah.
You feeling it deep down inside? I'm talking about the show.
It's like heartburn.
Heartburn. So, at any rate, yes, we do not have a guest this segment, which is probably a good thing because all we wind up doing is embarrassing ourselves right out of the box, even more when we have a guest.
No, not at all.
Some of us.
We have
You don't
fun.
think so?
No, I think we have fun. I think we put a lot of effort into this, and some of it's like the last 5 minutes before the show goes on. We put way more effort into it than we do the rest of the show because we want to make sure it comes up and runs properly.
That's true.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. Isn't that right, Mars?
Yes, sir.
Let's hear you say that.
Theoretically?
Theoretically.
There you go.
I don't know what the problem is with that.
Yeah, it's not spelled that way or it's not pronounced that way.
Let me see. So say it again.
You say it
Now he's got me saying.
theoretically.
There you go. You're right.
There's no theory involved in it.
Okay.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
so SEMA seemed to be. We had lots of friends.
Conrad's going to take off and
There you go.
move
Go
the
for
show in a different direction, I
Please.
think.
See, we had lots of friends go to SEMA. You know, Randy Borcherding with Paint House, and he put his Corvette in the
That was a 60s model Corvette. Was that a
67.
C2?
67.
Yeah.
and
So
he-
it was a C3.
C3.
C3. And he put it
Corvettes
C3.
in SEMA.
and he put it in the Griot's garage and got lots of attention. Actually, Bruno Massel, who is one of the commentators for NHRA on TV, he had reposted that car talking about one of the best cars he saw at SEMA.
Bruno's also an NHRA driver, too.
Yeah, he drives a Chevy Cobalt with a Toyota 2JZE turbo motor in it, which is one of those monster motors out of a Supra, the older Supra. And so he commented he thought that was one of the best cars at SEMA. And then, of course, Richard Tomlin and his Jeep Wagoneer was also at SEMA and got lots of good comments from other people. And Laura Ashley did the interior and stuff, and now the car is going to go on a national tour with Laura Ashley. And then the Lilienthals must have been at SEMA.
Yes, they were there. They'll get back Friday night. And
They will
they'll
get
join
back
us.
where?
Well, they'll get back to their
Yesterday.
house
Yesterday.
last night, and they're going to join us this morning.
So
Okay.
we've got some good folks that follow the show and are friends of the show and partners of the show that are in the automotive world that we just love.
Yep. And if you
Well put.
I have put pictures of Borcherding's Corvette on our Facebook page over time as the build was happening, and you've got to see that the red color, and he does such a great job with red and blue.
It's kind of a cross between a red and a maroon and a cherry and a candy apple, and it's truly
stunning.
Yeah, it is.
Stunning.
I've never seen a color like it, but that's what he's known for.
The mixture is sort of like a pumpkin strudel muffin.
That we were happy enough to have Kathy
I
make
thought I'd
for us
throw
this
that in
morning for
there.
breakfast.
What would we do? What would he do without Kathy? We'd be unfed,
Yeah, I look like
Well,
I
either
look
that-
like I'm undernourished.
and it would either be that or it would be donuts from Shipley's.
Yeah,
that
or
I guess-
kolaches or
they didn't
whatever.
know what to do with you not
Yeah, I
standing
think they had to
outside the
close
front
this
door
morning.
at 5
beating on,
o'clock.
let me in.
We'd be unfed and undecorated.
Well, we're definitely undecorated. So the SEMA show, it's truly amazing. As big as that show is, and with all of the people that follow everything that comes out of that show, and I mean, we got Mecum auction. Every time there's an auction, we've got a Mecum auction on TV.
Yep.
Why wouldn't we have a special broadcast while the SEMA show was on, while it was going on in Las Vegas? At least a couple of hours on Motor Trend TV. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I understand that there's logistical problems as far as covering that massive convention center. That's the biggest convention center
Well,
I have ever been in
multiple
my life.
convention centers. It's not just one.
Well,
I think
that's
it's
the
like-
thing. Yeah.
I think it's like 3 in the parking lot between all of them, and they fill it all up.
Well, at any rate,
Because remember, at SEMA, they have Apexes out there as well.
Yeah, but that's over at the Sands Convention Center.
Okay.
We could just do it from the blackjack table. That'd be great.
Is that your game of choice?
Not necessarily.
what is your game of choice?
Old Maid.
Yeah.
Mine is fish.
Whichever
No
one,
fish.
whichever one I lose my money slowest at is the one that I like.
You drag out the pain.
Yes.
I'm a craps guy. I like.
Yeah,
throwing-
we smelled it earlier.
That wasn't me. I like throwing dice.
Really?
Yeah, because it's really the only game they can't interfere with the odds. You know, they can mess with you in blackjack. You know, there's still some places that do one deck blackjack, but most of those places are doing 5, 6, 7 deck blackjack.
Three minimum, yeah.
You know, so that helps the house.
Because you can't count the cards.
Right. And I've never liked roulette. You know, they can't really mess with you in roulette, but I've never really liked roulette. but,
That's your worst odds.
yeah.
Roulette's worst odds?
Yeah, by
I
far.
thought Keno was.
Yeah, but Keno's $2 when you're sitting there eating dinner.
Of course. That's right. Well, the only thing you're missing at the buffet is John Panette.
Oh, yeah. You eat too much.
There used to be those buffets were pretty amazing. I don't know if they are anymore.
I don't know.
Well, they are, but they're no longer $5 or $6. They're more like 30.
$30. Is it
25
still
and
all
30
you can
last
eat?
time I was there.
Is it still all you can eat?
What I remember, yeah.
Probably.
But again, it's been probably 5 or 6 years since I was at SEMA, and it was that way then. But I mean, I was a little amazed. It was $25 to $30 for the buffet.
But see, that's just a ploy. All you can eat. How
much
I can't
can you eat?
exactly.
Well, it depends on
I
what
can't.
food they're putting out. You know, if it's lobster, scallops.
If you
filet
like
mignon,
lobster and scallops, yeah, it's great. But a lot of people don't. Some people have allergies.
Or king crab claws that are gone before three people get up there, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
I'm thinking some White Castle hamburgers on
There
the
you
buffet.
go.
That'll
A
work.
couple of chili dogs. There you go.
That's me.
So-
That's usually my Thanksgiving down at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Autorama, which, by the way, we will be broadcasting from. And
over there.
we'll be hearing some commercials from Autorama today.
I'll run those.
And I have a rundown, a sheet of all of the things that is going to appear at Autorama. Why don't we just do that right now? Because I'm pretty excited about the guests that they're going to have.
Did we finish with Randy's car?
Bad Chad and Jolene Chad from
Oh, okay.
Bad Chad's Customs.
Oh.
They're going to be there Friday from 1 to 5.
He has created a huge following.
Yeah, me included.
I do as well because he is truly an artist without funding. I don't know how to say that nicely.
No, you're
Yeah,
right.
that
But
makes sense.
I think that the show is now funding him, and I think that he does sell his rides that he builds. But they're up in Canada, another Canadian show.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then on Saturday, when we're there, Dave Kindig from Bitchin' Rides.
Oh, Dave.
He's going to be there from 1 to 4.
We need to get him on.
Well, we need to get a hold of our good friend, that our connection with Autorama, Larry Way. Get hold of Larry and say, hey, Larry, I know that he's probably going to be tight on time, as he always is, and everybody else that you bring, just bring them by the booth. And you know what? If nothing else, after we go off the air, we can always go back on the air with a special afterwards when he gets there before the 1 o'clock signing that he's going to have.
Record it.
And Larry's been kind enough to do that for us in the past. He's got us, Gene Winfield multiple times.
Yeah, Gene,
cool.
when he's there for like the whole event, chopping cars and stuff, he's absolutely. But last time Chip Foose was there, and Larry said, "Larry, you bring him by the booth." Yeah, he did. You got to shake hands with Chip while you're walking because he didn't hardly slow down.
Yeah. Then on Sunday, Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. They're going to be there Sunday from 1 to 4.
Well, what a cool collection of
Guests.
TV, automotive, I'm going to say icons.
Well, kind of.
All three of them are pretty
Builders.
amazing people. Yeah.
Builders.
Of course, they're going to have the Pinstripers panel, jam, and charity auction. Lowrider vehicles all weekend long.
We're well worth wandering through and looking at the true craftsmanship in the lowrider.
You've
stuff.
always been a big lowrider fan.
I'm not a fan of the genre. I'm a fan of the craftsmanship they do. The mural work, the paint work, the
Etching.
The engraving,
chrome
etching, yeah.
and stuff. I mean, it's breathtaking to look at that. Somebody spent, a couple of 100 hours doing some of that bumper
Or more,
etching.
yeah.
And the paint, the 70s style paint work of the paneling and stuff.
One of the silliest things that I've always liked at Autorama, silly, because I never buy anything, the swap meet.
Oh, yeah.
Go there and see. I've actually put some stuff in years and years ago at a Corvette show. They had a swap meet, sold all of it. All of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, stuff that I'd taken off the old Corvette.
Well, they say that's someone else's treasure.
Yeah,
Someone's,
but some of the stuff, they pull in whole cars, rusted hunks of, and they
On
sell that
trailers.
stuff, yeah.
If you want it, you can have the trailer, too. That's an extra several $100.
Because there's always something there. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen several things like there was a 3-deuce setup. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what it fit, but I always wanted a 3-deuce setup.
Yeah, what a pain in the
But-
butt to try to tune that.
Yeah, but I didn't have anything to put it on except for the coffee table. So
The coffee table with the drag racing slick that's all wore out,
Yeah,
and the
that-
piece of
underneath
glass that came off of the actual kitchen table
Yeah.
that you bought at some other junk.
Or your wife gets home and there's a transmission in the bathtub.
There's that.
Again,
Yeah. Or, let's see, what was it?
and a set of cylinder heads in the dishwasher because you had to clean them out.
I
And
went
it smells
to
like gum out.
a Corvette Expo in Oklahoma City, and there was a under the hood part that our buddy in the Corvette Club had to paint, so painted it in the shower. The whole room smelled like a big paint booth.
Oh, yeah.
And knock, knock, knock on the door. Hello, sir. We're getting an odor out here in the hallway. We don't know where it's coming from. You can't come in because we don't have any clothes on. Not. But, yeah, so we stopped the
Now,
painting.
how odd was that?
Oh,
Don
you're
and
talking
another
about
guy-
he did it in the shower of the hotel room?
Yes.
Don and another guy are in the shower
At
and
the
they don't
ho-
have any clothes on.
Yeah.
At the Holiday Inn in downtown, about a block from the convention center in Oklahoma City. You probably know where that
Yep,
is.
yep.
Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah, the painting in the hotel room.
Nice.
Let's see what else is going to go on there. There is going to be, obviously, the hottest custom cars and outstanding hot rods. It's going to be a really good show this year. And every year we say this, and it is true, they always have new stuff there. It's not the same cars
Right.
all through the entire show. You'll see some.
Well, especially the Magnificent Seven are always new cars.
They have to be.
New to the show.
Correct.
And
Well, explain to the folks listening that are going to subscribe what the Magnificent Seven is.
so the judges go through and choose the 7 premier cars that fit the categories. And one of those categories is it must never have been shown at Houston Autorama before. And they compete for the Millwinders Award, which is a beautiful trophy that's sponsored by Craig Bierman and Speed Sport Chrome. And actually, I'm pretty sure he made the trophy.
He did.
And
Chromed it.
and that is kind of the Riddler Award of the Houston Autorama.
Yeah, it's our local Riddler.
You know, it's a pretty high level award.
Prestigious.
I think the what was it, a couple of years ago that
The guy that had
the Graham won it. Did the Graham win it, or did the Vicky win it?
It was the Graham, and it was a 4-door sedan to start off with, but the guy took 2 of the doors off of it and chopped it in the middle and made it a 2-door coupe.
It's sectioning.
And it was absolutely the most
Stunning.
And I pressed him on how much money he had into it, and he wouldn't say because he was afraid it would get back to his wife.
Yeah, his wife knows.
No, she doesn't know.
Well,
Yeah,
she's got an
if she
idea.
had any clue, she would have
If it's his
divorced
wife,
him.
yeah, well,
Well,
she
and the
But
neat,
we know how that is. You got a car,
Yeah.
and you got the girlfriend, and well, we could have gone to. No, I had to spend a little bit of money and get this particular part, and so there's that.
and to do a Graham, a shark nose Graham of all things, that was unusual in itself.
yes, it was. So, how much are the tickets?
That's what I was going to ask.
General admission is $23.
Not bad.
6 to 12, $5.
There you go.
Children 5 and under, free. But why? Why would you bring a child under 5? Unless you couldn't get a babysitter.
Strollers,
That's true. And
yeah.
You're exposing the youngsters into the automotive.
Not under 5.
world. Well,
They could care less.
Yeah, you're exposing them to scratching somebody's car.
Back again
good parents.
by popular demand, the Tuner Galleria. Saturday only. 200 tuners, imports, JDM, luxury vehicles, music, and models.
And they all drive in on one end of Autorama, show off their cars,
And
and
then drive out, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, very
That's
much
the
so.
section where they used to have the auction.
Yes.
Right.
And, I kind of miss the auction.
I do too. Yeah.
But I guess it didn't work out for them, whatever the case may be. But I love the guests that they're having this year.
No wrestler? Usually they have a pretty high level WWE wrestler.
Well, is WWE still in business? I see that somebody else now is promoting wrestling. I
Mike's-
don't see WWE.
Mike's going to dress up like a sumo wrestler. And,
Yeah. But no, yeah, to your question, yeah, WWE's still going. They have a couple of TV shows still on, but there's a TNT and a couple of others.
Well, you
that
and your
are-
mom watch that, don't you?
Yeah, we do. She prefers what is the one with the martial arts kick thing?
Yeah, huh?
MMA.
Yeah, that's it.
Really, I can't imagine your mother watching that and enjoying it. But
Well,
whatever.
I didn't imagine her watching John Wick. She's seen every John Wick movie there is and watches them repeatedly.
I've never seen the first one.
He shoots a lot of people in the head.
Not surprised.
Kind of like we do here on this on this broadcast.
That's what we're going to do after the show. We're going to shoot each other.
All right.
Shoot
Well,
ourselves in the
somehow, some way, we've managed to
So what
waste
else?
away.
What else
minutes.
is at Autorama? Anything we missed?
Nope, I think that's about it. But it's 4 days of frolic and fun. Opens on Thanksgiving afternoon and continues through that Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend.
Frolicking
So if
is
you want to
good.
work your way through your Thanksgiving food coma, come to Autorama.
Time now for the events calendar, and Conrad has the events calendar.
Yep, and Cywood's FFA car show.
Could you move that microphone a little closer to your mouth, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. That's fine.
All right. Well, we'll start then at Taps and Turbos Car Show at the No Label Brewing, and that's on First Street in Katy, and that's this afternoon at 12:30. It starts. Also is Nifty 50s tonight up in the Woodlands. Track Casual at Speed Sport in New Caney. The track event, it's $150. It starts at 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. 7 p.m. tonight is Driver City Fast Cars and Cigars meet at Casa de Monte Cristo off of
Sounds
FM
like a cigar.
96. It is.
Or a
Monte
salad.
Cristo is a very famous cigar.
But
Or
but
salad.
but you said the location is at some Monte Cristo.
Yeah, that's the name of the business.
Okay.
And that's off of 6608 1960. and it's an open cruising. The Wunschke Car Show is at Wunschke High School in Spring, and that starts at 3 p.m. Tonight. Classic Cars of Brazoria County cruising at the Lubies in Lake Jackson starts at 6 p.m. tonight, 7 p.m. tonight. Dayton Cruisers monthly street meet, and it's Dayton. There's not much you have to go look for. You'll see it.
Thank you, Dayton.
Apparently, you've been through there a couple of times.
A million times
Yeah,
lately.
yeah. With the one yellow light that you just kind of blow through at 90 miles
No,
an
they
hour.
got more lights than that.
Okay.
They got like 4. Brookshire Brothers Cruising in Montgomery, Texas starts tonight at 5 p.m.
How many lights are in Neaterville? You got lots of
Oh,
street
yeah.
lights?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, it gives the cops something to do.
None of them work.
The cop with the one.
And then Wharton Cruise Night is tonight off of Domino's Pizza on Bowling Highway, and that starts at 6 p.m. 7 p.m. tonight is Kingwood Classic Cruisers and Coffee at the Whataburger in Kingwood.
Okay. Time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Morris has a look at the not Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Grand Wagoneer.
I'm sorry,
Grand
Grand
Cherokee
Wagoneer.
is the Jeep.
Okay.
So, and this is a 2023 model. We got kind of a pre-production sheet out of it instead of your regular Monroney, but it's a 2023 Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, and it's the L, so it's a little bit longer than the regular Grand Wagoneer.
L length.
Lengthwise, yes. Standard 4x4. It comes in. You can get it in 4 trim levels, and great naming, Series 1, Series 2, stuff like that. So it's easy to keep up with. But this is a big, full-size SUV, and again, we had the extra long one, so it's extra L size. And it is definitely a full-size vehicle. Now, if you look at it, you're going to look at it and say, yeah, well, that looks like it's got the Jeep grill on it. It's got some Jeep styling lines on it. We had the Baltic gray with the black centered-out wheels options, and it was really a nice-looking package on it. We also had the auto-retracting side steps. Now, these side steps were wide. They were wider than normal, and it was really nice because I got this silly boot on my foot, and it would not slip off there. I mean, it was great. I liked it. But when it tucked up under, it actually tucked up under, and it looked like part of the body, the lower valance panels
The
down
rockers.
there. And it was a nice fit, nice look the way they did that. It's got air suspension on it. It's got power lift gate, which to me, the lift on it is too low. I felt like I had to duck. I didn't have to, but it's close enough.
It didn't
made
have
me
an
want to duck,
adjustment on it
but
to fix that?
I couldn't find it. Could not find one, and I found several other people complaining about it too. Because when you stepped up underneath it, you ducked. You were
I
6.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hit
So
my-
the rear gate just doesn't go up high.
Correct.
enough to
I don't
stand
think it
underneath.
does, and there may be an adjustment, and I couldn't find it, though, anyplace. We had the 22-inch polished wheels with the black inserts that I mentioned. We also had a tow package on it. Now, you go onto the inside of it, and it's pretty much get in your face kind of thing. You know, it had this leather seating, and it was in such a almost like an orange color. I mean, you can see it there on the video, and it's really nice. I mean, it looks kind of stark or like in your face, but it's really nice. So we had the front heated and ventilated seats, had massaging on the seats. Used that quite a bit. The second row seat had heat and venting. There was the second row also has a 10-inch panel on the back of the front seat for the entertainment system.
I saw that, yeah.
And up front, entertainment system, it had a Macintosh audio system with 23 speakers. I mean,
Oh
this
my
is a
gosh.
fine system. Had the 12-inch info screen that also up for the handle all your convenience controls, your entertainment, all that great stuff. And it had the digital rearview mirror with a camera in it, and I'm getting to where I really like that thing. We also had the wireless Apple audio USB ports everywhere for everybody, so there's nobody looking for a USB port for your electronics. Now, up under the hood, this is a big vehicle again, but we had a 3.0-liter twin turbo. Actually has an engine cooler on
Six-cylinder.
it. Yes, inline 6-cylinder. 510 horsepower.
Oh, this is the
Dang.
this is the Hurricane.
Yes, the twin turbo. 510 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque.
Wow.
So it's backed by an 8-speed automatic transmission. As I said, it's got a 4x4 on it. We had the tow package. The EPA says you should be looking for 14 to 19. And again, we had an early pre-release document that goes with it. I drove it right at 300 miles, and over the whole package, I got 17 miles to the gallon. This thing has got plenty of power out on the highway and around town. You don't have to juice it. You don't have to take the turbos.
500 horsepower.
It's
How was the
there.
on-ramp acceleration test?
It's really, for a vehicle that size, it's pretty impressive. I have to tell you, I was a little concerned over the size of the engine with that size of vehicle, but that's why you can do some of the things you can. Again,
What kind of things can you do?
the
Jimmy
speed,
Buffett.
the towing, and manage the air suspension with the wide steps. It really is a lot more user-friendly to get in and out of that vehicle. And to drive it, because of the way they've got it set up, it actually drives like a smaller vehicle. You don't really feel like you're in a really big vehicle. Now, you get into the parking lot, you know you're in a big vehicle. But it's got the surround view cameras, so you can use all these technology things to help you out. If you're, it's an L, so the base trim price on the L model is $91,495.
Whoa.
We
Okay.
had a couple of options. So our MSRP is
Did it
tested
kick it over 100?
109,225.
Yeah.
109.
Now, if you're looking for something to compare this to, again, trying to compare finding vehicles at will, you could look at the Escalade with the Sport Package, the V6 4x4, and it starts at $94,000. The Lincoln Navigator, the L Reserve, trying to find something comparable, starts at $94,500. So they're all priced in that
And then
same
optioned
range,
up
about
would
that
probably
side.
be in that
Oh, yeah.
upper
You start bouncing them up.
100, 100.
And I had a lot of people that looked at this vehicle. They really liked the way it looked, particularly the audio
Did you
system.
like the way it looked?
I did. I liked the way it looked. I liked the way it drove. I could see this being a vehicle that I would consider if I could afford a vehicle that price. That was what everybody else kind of backed up whenever I told them the price on it. But up to that point, they really liked it. And
I
again, Jeep is trying to, or Chrysler, or Stellantis, I guess is who it is trying to separate this luxury vehicle away from the Jeep brand. Nobody's going to pay $109,000 for a Jeep. However, I did find where it says Jeep on there in two places.
Where did it say that?
I'm not telling you. You got to have to find it.
Hey, I liked it. I thought it was a huge vehicle.
It is.
It impressed me as being like a suburban size.
Yes,
That's
and when
what
you
impressed
open up the back deck to put the cargo in behind the third row seat, there's a lot of room back there.
The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are at your fingertips from your favorite podcast source. Hey, the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Want to take a minute to tell you about Gulf Coast Auto Shield, a Houston detail company like no other. Gulf Coast Auto Shield offers paint correction services that'll give your car, truck, or SUV a like-new shine. Afterwards, you'll want to protect it with a professionally installed nano-ceramic coating or protection film. Worried about your very expensive windshield getting damaged, broken, or cracked? Let Gulf Coast Auto Shield install ExoShield, a windshield protection film. Give John Gray a call today or check out their website, gcautoshield.com. Hey, whether you own a new, ultra-expensive, exotic, or a 5-year-old Suburban, Gulf Coast Auto Shield will help keep your investment looking like the day it rolled off the assembly line. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is conveniently located on the South Sam Houston Parkway, just south of I-69, the Southwest Freeway. Meet the staff and check out all of their services online right now at gcautoshield.com.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama! at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, performance cars, and live music. Do not miss the Ultimate Lowrider Showcase, sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models. On the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration, meet Bad Chad and wife Jolene from Bad Chad Customs on Friday. Saturday, it's Dave Kindig from TV's Bitch and Rise. Sunday, it's Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 25th to 28th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
Well, you know, leave it to me.
Or Beaver, one of the two. Leave it to Beaver.
Okay.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Welcome to the End Wheel Time Car Talk Show, or something else. We don't want to even admit that this is the End Wheel Time Car Talk Show.
Oops.
Thank you, Don Armstrong. Coming up, Lewis Black joins us to talk about raw materials for making cars. Later, look at the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Screwing it all up.
Yeah, thank you for pointing it out. It's all my fault,
Doing
as
what
it
we do.
usually is. Joining us now, live from the great state of New York, I believe it is. His name is Lewis Black. He's the CEO of Almonte Industries. And Lewis Black, not the comedian, but, well, I guess you can be, Lewis, if you want to be. But it's good to have you back with us again. Almonte Industries is an international raw materials development company. And I know that last time we spoke to you, you were in Spain. And
Absolutely true.
Yeah, and you're back in the States.
Well, you know, it was the fact of you know, the good weather and the fresh food and you know, the wonderful, charming nature of Spain. I thought like it was too good.
It was.
So I returned to the States to feast on the culinary delights of New York City.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and he's a salesperson, too.
It's not quite what I expected, but I think it's important that I keep my feet on the ground.
Absolutely.
Chamber of Commerce wants you.
So it's Ray's Pizza and Say Bread hot dogs.
I have to say, it is a delight to be able to walk in somewhere and get food straight away. Whereas in Spain, it's more of a sort of, suggestion. You kind of wait and maybe come back, and maybe they remember, or maybe they don't. So you never really know. But no, it's good to be back home.
Well, and it's good to have you back with us again. I know that after our last conversation, we had to pick our jaws up off of the floor.
Learned
because
a lot.
we learned an awful lot. And there's been a lot of changes since we last talked to you in the supply chain. And you're really at the base of the supply chain, and that is materials, raw materials to make the things that go into cars. And the first thing that comes to my mind are batteries for EVs. And we keep hearing these horror stories about there's not going to be enough raw materials to make the batteries at the rate that everybody is bragging about how fast these EVs are going to come off the assembly line. And I was hoping to find out from you exactly what the status is of that. Can you fill us in?
Well, I mean, I think that this is not a new story. I mean, back in the days before Tesla made EVs sexy, hybrids were the future. And even back then, with the way that they wanted to transition towards hybrids, they said they were a decade away from getting enough raw materials to be able to produce the number of hybrids that would be required going forward. So this is really a continuation of the same story. And I think since the hybrid stories, the world has changed, even more, where raw materials don't win you votes. The idea of getting raw materials probably does, but the idea of actually producing them does not. And so what we're seeing in democracies across the board is an understanding of the strategic nature of needing these products but not wanting to build it in your own backyard. So I think the days of seeing large-scale mines opening in democracies are coming now to a close. And then, of course, it's a completely different conversation regarding procurement, because, yes, you're completely right. The politicians are really running to the end of the race without actually knowing how to start it, because there is no way there is even close to enough raw materials to meet these timelines that are being imposed upon everybody.
And is some of the reason why some countries are unwilling to do the mining is because typically this is open pit mining?
No, I mean, many mines are, you have a balance of both. It's just that the concept of making a mine, whether it's open pit or underground, it doesn't win you votes. No one's getting elected on the back of that. And so, building a battery factory, that's a lot more kind of palatable, but you still got to feed the battery factory.
Right.
So you're really moving to a stage where you're imposing timelines that that the industry cannot meet. And on top of that, you are going to strengthen the very lack of diversification in your supply chain that you're trying to get away from, because the only countries that are even close to being able to increase output are the ones that are already producing.
Interesting.
Because I know that I saw a story where somebody, they were trying to open a mine in Michigan. And I don't remember exactly what they were trying to, uranium or something like that. Anyway, of course, all the EPA type came in and said, no, we don't want a mine in Michigan. Go do it someplace else. We don't want you to open this mine. So I think they've pretty well stopped it.
Well, you can only mine where the raw materials are in the
Right,
ground.
exactly.
I mean, it's not like they could just choose another place.
Start digging a hole.
Look, I mean, in democracies, it takes you 8 to 10 years to open a mine anyway. The United States has a different quirk in that you can go through all the processes of approval and then still politically be rejected, even though that rejection is in the gray area of whether it's even legally possible to do. It's a risk that you face. And so if you're an investor, you're going to shy away from that risk because you can spend all this money getting to the finish line and then it still gets shut down. In Europe, they seem to be a lot more delicate about this. They just don't approve the project. They don't actually say publicly, we're not going to approve it. They just don't approve it. And so we are really seeing, to open a mine in a democracy is problematic. And yes, the NGOs, indigenous groups, there's all kinds of basically people that now need to say it's okay to mine. National interest is really at the back of the queue because we're in a democracy where an individual counts. If you're in a country where that doesn't, an individual is not important, you can put national interest at the front of the queue. But that is the price, whether we like it or not, of living in a democracy. And to be honest, yes, it's a pain, but I'd rather be in a democracy than the alternative.
Right. And then, so is that why it seems like a lot of the raw materials are probably coming out of Africa more than the democracies of
South
Europe?
America, places like that?
Yes, I mean, regulation-wise, it's certainly simpler. Now, it doesn't tick the transparency box that many customers desire, but until such time as there's greater choice for these consumers, those questions are going to be put on the back burner because you can't really bite the hand that feeds you. You can't say, oh, we're not happy with one jurisdiction because it's not transparent when you have no alternative to replace that material you're walking away from. And a great example is Russia. So for tungsten, so we're the guys outside of China who produce the most tungsten. But between China and Russia, 90% of the world's tungsten is produced. And yet, since they rolled into a sovereign country, which in itself was extraordinary, the reaction of the West has been, well, we're going to confiscate some oligarchs' yachts. We're not really sure they own them because they're obviously hidden behind many different, different shell companies. But there's been no disruption of raw material supply from Russia. None whatsoever, because you can't afford not to buy it. There's nowhere else you can get it. And so you do find yourself in a rather difficult situation where your own policies are going to continue to empower jurisdictions that perhaps don't share your values. And that, of course, ultimately leads to drama.
Yeah.
What is tungsten used for in automobile manufacturing?
Well, funnily enough, tungsten's at the top of pretty much every country's strategic list because it's in absolutely everything. They don't use a lot of it, but without it, you can't actually make anything. So we're talking from defense to medical to automotive, batteries, technology, screens, semiconductors, aerospace, everything. I mean, in your room right now, pretty much everything you can see around you has some connection with tungsten, whether it be your laptops, whether it be your phones, whether it be even the table, the manufacturing of that table. So there's a little bit of it in everything. And to think that 10 to 12% of all tungsten is used in defense, and yet 90% of all tungsten comes from China and Russia, you can see that it's an area that no one really wants to make a big noise about until they have alternatives. They just don't really know how to get to that point of finding alternative sources without essentially upsetting the hand that feeds you.
So we've got In Wheel Time Mining Company. Where would you suggest we put a shovel in the ground?
Well, ultimately, it depends what gets you out of bed in the morning. For me, I like to sleep at night, so I only want to operate in safe jurisdictions. And on that basis, I'm prepared to go through the, damage of getting a permit slowly in democracies that are still looking at, very limited growth in that area. If you want to make money, you head to South America, you head to Africa, but you face and you head to the Caucasus or, the old satellite states of the Soviet Union, Mongolia, but you run the risk that you can make a lot of money, but you can also wake up one morning and find that the president's son has decided he wants to be in your business, and your business is now painted a different color.
And you've lost everything. So with the changes looked at in technology in the batteries, I realize, the batteries, the lithium ion, the cobalt and stuff is all kind of where they're at now, but there's future changes of battery because there's so much technology, research and development. Is Almonte looking at the future and what stuff they're going to need as they change the battery recipe?
Well, the recipe may change, but it will still require raw materials. And then we go back to what we were just saying. You can't build these mines in democracies. So you are probably still shopping in the same store. You're just going to a different aisle. So nothing really changes on that basis.
Wow.
I mean, we've seen growth in tungsten in the last 6-7 years. It's been driven, say, in South Korea. So South Korea is the largest consumer of tungsten per capita in the world. And we happen to be reopening the world's largest tungsten mine right in that jurisdiction. Its main primary source of consumption is technology in South Korea. So it's used in screens, it's used in semiconductors, and it's used in batteries. And as those are enormous growth areas within the country, you've seen double-digit growth of tungsten consumption. Tungsten is one of those bizarre metals that disperse heat, do not smelt, well, they smelt slightly less than the temperature of the sun, and is very conductive, which means they pump like a tungsten gas into every semiconductor because it means you can run many more operations in that semiconductor and not worry about heat. They're using it now in anodes and cathodes because you can get rid of the cobalt and use more nickel, and that way the batteries don't combust. And you can charge them very quickly, but not just for vehicles, EVs. You can do the same for laptops, for phones. And these are now what are being produced in South Korea as they enter commercial production, meaning you can charge your phone in a matter of minutes, as an example.
So that tungsten is the advancement of technology.
Tungsten is part of the recipe. Tungsten is not the only recipe. I mean, we talk about lithium, but lithium only operates when it's combined with other metals. It's just, ultimately the market gets hold of a story and sort of drives the narrative on one particular metal, but no one particular metal is going to build the future. The way that metal is combined with other metals is what's going to build the future.
Something that was running around on the internet this week was mining on the floor of the ocean.
Yeah, the little nodes.
Yeah, little nodes. Do you know anything about that?
Well, yes. I mean, look, to be perfectly honest, if you think you have problems in Michigan opening a mine with the environmentalists, you try doing it in the ocean.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
I mean, you've got local, local NGOs in Michigan. You have global NGOs with. I mean, think about it. Greenpeace doesn't even allow you to take nuclear-powered vessels or New Zealand into their waters. You have no shot of mining at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, it's never going to happen in a lifetime. You have more chance of mining in space. But the oceans, no. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure that's the greatest idea. Regulations exist for a reason on land, and they're a pain and they're a drama and all these things. But ultimately, they serve a really valid process, because up until the sort of 80s, mining companies, a lot of them couldn't behave themselves, and they did a lot of damage. And when China arrived into the market and essentially gave away almost free product, say in tungsten, there was 100 tungsten mines outside of China in the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. By the beginning of the 90s, there were 2. So that culling was a necessary market function, but also it solved a big problem for a lot of the governments. These mines weren't adhering to regulations that are now in place. So even though they drive me nuts, I really see the benefit of them.
So let me ask you, if I understood a while ago, you said it takes you like about 10 years to open a new mine. Was that right?
Yes, I mean, 8 years if you're lucky, 10 years if you're not.
So in relation to the technology, you said most of it's going to be a combination of existing products. But if somebody comes up and says we think we're going to need more of one particular raw material, and so you need to expand your capacity. But if they come up with something totally new, said you're not mining this now, but we want to start because we need it for this. Does that ever happen to where you really got to go out and find new places?
No, the elemental table gives us a list of everything that exists. So pretty much everything has been prospected and prepared in that sense. I mean, a lot of the elements are actually byproducts of production of other metals. So, rare earths, for instance, aren't that rare. I've never really been sure whether I think they wanted to command attention on the elemental table, and they were called rare earths, but they weren't so rare. But no, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything majorly new to discover. I mean, I could be wrong, but ultimately, smarter guys than I have been pulling over minerals and metals for the last 200 odd years. Some of them going back 4,000 years of copper and tin. But no, I don't think you're going to find that. I think your main problem is going to be whether ESG continues to be front and center, so that companies like Apple and Airbus and Boeing, and Ford, they demand transparency of their supply chain. And also, how are they going to address the fact that they shop pretty much all in the same store? What happens if that store, closes or has a problem or decides that you're no longer welcome in that store? I mean, there are 100 different things that could happen, but you don't have anywhere else to go right now. And that's really, I think, the major problem facing all manufacturers currently.
Sounds a little scary.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have a backdrop behind you. What mine is that?
This mine is Los Santos in Spain. It's our Spanish asset.
And what do they mine there?
That mine's tungsten.
Okay.
And ultimately, what you see is actually basically the sand to control all the dust. And then when this mine closes, all of that will disappear. It's all revegetated.
Reclaimed, yeah.
So look, I mean, now is not what it was. Ultimately, you have a responsibility and you have to adhere to that responsibility. Mm-hmm. But I think the image of mines is still suffering from the sins they committed back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, the legacy issues that were left. And that means that ultimately, politically, if you think this current administration, the previous administration, they talked very strongly about raw materials until they sort of ran into this headwind of, you know what, no one's going to elect you on that. So they kind of migrated further downstream to semiconductors, batteries. So they've gone to the end of the race and they're going to let someone else worry about the start.
Yeah, that could make sense.
Very
yeah.
interesting.
So you talked about the elemental table. Do you have kind of a map of the elemental table and where those elements are available around the world?
Sure. I mean, actually, USGS, the U.S. Geological Society, is really good. They have a really good in-depth knowledge, because in the Cold War, they were tasked to finding out who had what and where it was, and that was all part of their planning. Even though they were stockpiling material for American manufacturers in the event of war, they wanted to know that if they had to send boots on the ground, who were they going to get first? And and that's always happened historically. If you look at Japan pre Second World War, the first country they rolled into was South Korea, because they in fact wanted to get their hands on the mine that we're reopening, because they use a lot of tungsten in defense, in munitions. So yes, there are maps that show what's where. And, the U.S. has a lot of raw materials. There's no doubt about it. It's a vast country. Canada has a lot of raw materials. Mexico has a lot of raw materials. You are surrounded by lots of solutions, but you also have a lot of hurdles. And I think that if we look in Canada in the last 5, 6, 7 years, there's been much more prominence given to First Nations. And so First Nations now is another hurdle you have to get through, and it's a fairly new system, and it's quite complex, and it's very frustrating, I think, because no one seems to really have a direction. So that's slowed everything down in Canada. In the US, you obviously have no real political base that supports it, and then of course in Mexico, you have all the other associated problems, which is, can you be truly transparent? Can you conform to the levels of ESG that are being asked of you? So I think the raw materials are there, but it's going to take a great deal of effort to get them to market if you want to domestically or produce close by, where you can truck the raw material rather than ship.
Wow.
Well, truly amazing stuff.
I know.
It's educational every time we have you on. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Louis, it's always great to talk to you, and we certainly appreciate your time on this Saturday morning, and we hope to talk to you again soon. If you got any updates, feel free to give us a call. We'll get you back on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Be safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Always fascinating to talk to him. When I found out that we were going to have him, it's like, really? I didn't know that.
Mike, we need to do a remote from a mine.
You know what?
I
can only imagine getting the signal out of a mine.
well,
we can't even get it out of the
There'd be a lot
garage.
of wires.
Let's just go to New York and sit down with Louis and do the show from there.
We get to New York, but we can't get to the SEMA show in Las Vegas. That's good.
Well, George Skelton says the largest iron mine in Texas is at the Lone Star Steel mine. So maybe there's one in Texas we could go to.
Okay. If we'd love to hear from you. Just shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Got some news stories that I wanted to get to. The U.S. arm of automaker Stellantis has issued a do not drive warning to roughly 250,000 older model year vehicles that are subject to Takata airbag recalls. Again and still are the two words that I can think of. Models included in the warning include 2005 to 2010 Dodge Magnums, Chargers, Challengers, and Chrysler 300s.
There's a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
NHTSA is telling all vehicle owners of those models to check to see if their vehicle has an open Takata airbag recall. You can do that by going to safercar.gov. Type in the VIN number, which you can find not only up there on the dash pad, but you can also find it in your wallet or on your cell phone. And it's called the VIN number that comes with your car insurance that you're supposed to have.
Yeah, it's easy to find.
Yeah, easy to find. The warning comes after two such airbags exploded in two separate incidents involving 2010 Dodge Chargers, killing 2 people.
Wow.
The top auto safety regulator said a third death is suspected. Left unrepaired, recalled Takata airbags are increasingly dangerous as the risk of an explosion rises as vehicles age. All customers who have the airbags will receive a free repair. A free repair. The Takata recall has been the largest in global automotive history. More than 100 million vehicles have been recalled worldwide.
Wow.
I was really surprised when I read that, because by now I've done recalls on the recalls.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
On my Ram truck. And it just the idea that somebody hasn't done anything just surprises me.
Yeah, especially the fact that you risk getting killed.
Yes.
You think that would.
Well, you would hope that the person would check their car regularly, but if you're looking at, these are 15-year-old cars in some instances, and it may have gone through multiple hands before it, and so the manufacturer may be mailing a recall notice to the person who owned it 3 cars ago.
Right.
Well, but
I think they
again-
need to put a requirement on the used car sale of getting a safercar.gov inspection.
I think what they need to do is they need to put it on hold through your registration.
Okay, same thing. Okay. Oh, registration would be more frequent than selling.
Have you seen some of the cars on the road lately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time that the car gets sold, or every time you go and renew the registration, which you do in Texas at least once a year,
Yes.
Just did mine.
that would be, hey, you got a recall. We can't register your vehicle. You need to go get that fixed. Because they certainly do it with your state inspection.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say with the state inspection. Make it part of their inspection. We're going in. You've got a recall on your car. You've now been officially notified. No more excuses. Yeah, it's just part of the inspection.
Well, and then hold up the registration until they go get it done.
Well, I don't know that you could do that, but you could try.
Why?
It's the government. They can do whatever they
Well, you
want.
can do that with any part of the safety issue on an
Speaking
inspection.
of recalls, Hyundai recalling 44,396.2 crossovers, recommending owners park their vehicle outside after discovering a defect that could cause an electrical short and a thermal event. NHTSA said the recall affects 2018 Santa Fe Sport models produced between May 1st of 2017 through May 10th of 2018 at the Kia Georgia plant in West Point, Georgia. Something going on over there in Georgia, I guess. The new action is in addition to a 500,000 vehicle recall earlier this year affecting a variety of 2016 to 2019 Santa Fe models, as well as 14 to 15 Tucsons, 16 to 18 K900s, and 14 to 16 Sportage models.
Well, at least they spread it around.
They do, yeah. So go to safercar.gov at any point, at any time, type in your VIN number, and it will tell you whether your car has had a recall.
You get a recall. You get a recall.
Everybody
Thanks,
gets a
Oprah.
recall.
So
Yeah.
you heard that the Ford Mustang Mach-E is now going to have an exhaust system put on it. But this isn't like the Chrysler one. This one's a speaker that projects an exhaust noise.
Thank you.
Good for them.
Time now for a quick break. We'll be right back. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeartRadio.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Hey, Houston! America's greatest hot rod tradition is back! Thanksgiving weekend! The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, performance cars, and live music. Do not miss the Ultimate Lowrider Showcase, sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models on the celebrity stage. Presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Meet Bad Chad and wife Jolene from Bad Chad Customs on Friday. Saturday, it's Dave Kindig from TV's Bitch and Rise. Sunday, it's Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 25th to 28th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeartRadio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeartRadio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeartRadio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Wheel Time Car Talk.
I'm an old guy. I'm almost as old as him.
What? I'm sorry. Did I miss something
I think
here?
we did.
Apparently I did. Welcome, everybody, to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, your go-to place for everything entertaining car talk. Coming up, some great stuff.
Okay.
I like great stuff.
Do you?
Yeah, I like great stuff.
Well,
Good.
Rodney's next, isn't he?
You know, I'm not exactly sure who's next because I don't know anything.
Let's say Rodney's here.
So he must be next. Look
So-
at him. I see him in
He's
the
grinning,
preview
yeah.
over
He's
there.
giggling. He's got a giggle
Yeah,
going
well,
on.
you know,
He's giggling.
it's one of those kind of mornings for yours truly. Because look, I've got pages here of notes and stuff that I'm supposed to be doing.
I've got pages myself.
Yeah, what kind of pages? The rock and roll pages.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, thank you for joining us on this Saturday. I don't know what I'm doing clearly, and I'm discovering that every moment that I live and breathe these days. But thanks for the In Wheel Time Car Show for bringing you these fine messages and hope, an inspirational kind of morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just how long is our lead-in song?
Well,
Let me see. We've got another 9 seconds.
Okay.
Here's Mike Mars. There's Conrad DeLong. There's Jeff Zekin, and I'm nobody, clearly. But there is somebody that's somebody. And
Oh,
his
he's somebody,
name
all right.
is Rodney Rodriguez, and he is joining us right now. Well, sir, I hope that you've got it together because I clearly don't. Do you?
When I do stuff, everything's on paper, and people are always telling me, "Well, why don't you just format stuff in a document or something?" And I'm like, "Well, the only problem with that is, hell, I can't type. I
Exactly.
have to write it all down, man."
And it takes
And
twice as long.
Well,
Right.
Rodney, it's great to see you. Great to hear from you. Have things have changed because they got a thing now called Dirty Air. Are you not on the local station there in Austin any longer?
Yeah, that's still there. I'm headed to do that here in just a little bit. We'll preview the NASCAR Final Four. So, yeah, that's still there. Revved Up still on Monday. Dirty Air still rolling, and that's it's kind of cool because between the three shows I get to cover, like with the radio shows, national, with Revved Up is Texas, and with Dirty Air is more regional.
Listen
into
to
the
this guy.
Carolinas.
yeah.
So next thing, it's going to be the NBC television network.
Yep.
It's going to be Motor Trend.
Can we get an autograph now before you?
Yeah, exactly. Will you even remember us then?
No.
Guys, I work cheap. I think that's why that's the best way to get gigs. People are always asking me, "How do I get my feet wet?" I'm like, "Do stuff for free."
Yeah.
They'll never tell you no.
Stick them in there. Stick your feet in there and get after it.
Yep.
That's it. That's
So
exactly right.
if you're going to preview Phoenix for NASCAR, what is your opinion of the watermelon wall move by
Love it.
Chastain?
I love it. I often wondered. I've often wondered why. I know Carl Edwards tried to do it at one point and it didn't work out. But I'll tell you what, that proved to me. I mean, other than that Ross Chastain has as big as watermelons, but it proves to me that this race car is indestructible, which is good and bad, I guess, because you got to get head injuries and all this other stuff happening. But if you really took a look at that race car afterwards, it wouldn't hurt that bad.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, I'm sure
Well,
the
it didn't
steering
stop him.
components-
Well,
Yeah, no.
I sure am glad there
So-
wasn't a hole in the fence where cars would drive, onto the track or something like that, because that would have put a little dent in it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's happened in the past. At Bristol, there was a gate there.
Yeah.
But now with the safer barrier and everything that they have there, they've gotten so fancy over there, guys. Now they tunnel into the track. There's no gates. There's none of that anymore. So
Well, I remember Michael Waltrip, I think, hit a
Yeah.
gate and just totally ripped the front of the car off, and here are his legs dangling out in front, but undamaged. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, as for those that don't know, Mr. Chastain actually rode the outside wall around everybody and got himself into, I guess, the countdown to the playoffs or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty remarkable. I'm going, wow, look at that car go.
and set an all-time lap record at the
Yeah.
track.
for that lap.
He hammered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would-
nobody's ever gone that fast, and it was so weird as that was happening because I was sitting here watching that and I was trying to keep up with, where's Denny? Where are these guys? Who's going to get in? Who's going to get out? And then as I'm watching that, and of course, granted, I'd already had several cool beverages by this point, that late in the afternoon. I see that car hauling ass around the outside, and I'm like, why are they hitting the fast forward button here? But no, it turns out
It was just him.
calculated plan. It worked.
Now, if Denny would have moved right and gotten Chastain's way, would that have moved Denny forward?
Yeah.
Or was Chastain already passed enough cars
No.
to get past Denny?
Denny would have got in, but here's the caveat to all of that. So all of this happens, and then after the race, Brad Keselowski gets disqualified. So when it was all said and done, Ross really didn't even need to do that, but it looked good.
Well, he didn't know at the time, and
No, he didn't know
also
at the time.
Denny didn't know where he was either. Denny was all in the tall cotton, saying, here's
Right.
my Huckleberry, and then here he comes.
Right, he was in, and then that happens, and here you go. But I'll tell you, it's made for an interesting week, and you've already got people talking about a lot of the naysayers, the people that never watch NASCAR but yet watch it every week. They're already talking about they need to have a rule for this, and this can't happen.
Oh,
Whatever.
go
Give me
away.
a break.
Well, the new car has casters on the side of it. They put roller
Yeah, I
casters on
know.
the side.
I saw so one of the trucks. They had actually put casters on the side of it this week, all in jest, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Do you think
we'll
that
see.
they're going to pass a rule that you can't ride the wall all the way around?
They better not. They better not. Just leave it alone. I mean, there's lots of other things to address. I mean, don't mess up something. Guys, that'll never. I never say never, but that's not going to happen for a while.
Yeah.
That was one of those. You throw a Hail Mary, and you got to do what you got to do. Win at all costs.
You're going to see,
And if you got watermelons big enough to do it, go ahead and try
you're
it.
gonna see 13 guys tomorrow doing it.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk
And
about the Gulf Coast
a lot of
Racing
the
Series.
funny thing, one more thing on that, guy.
Yep, uh-huh.
A lot of the funny thing with it is that I see a lot of my dirt track friends that are talking about, oh, that was a stupid move. And these are the same guys that go out to the dirt track and are riding on the cushion the whole time up on the top side. And I'm like, guys, come on, cut the man some slack.
Well, and who's to decide I'm riding the rail versus, oops, sorry, I slid into the rail? I mean, it's just a difference in how long you're there.
And he didn't hit anybody. He
No.
didn't hurt anybody's car but his own.
An absolute genius move that he had talked about having done on the video game in the past. He just didn't know if it would work in real life. And
It did.
his watermelons were big enough to try it.
Dude, it was brilliant. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
I love it. I love it.
Let's talk about Gulf Coast Racing Series and Gina's Mobile racetrack. And are there any Houston drivers that go over there?
No, I mean there were a couple of Texans that would go, and granted, there's a lot of expense. I totally get it, but the final event's coming up for Gina. It was supposed to have been a couple of weeks ago, but the weather not cooperating over there. That's the one thing that I've learned as I've started to become a part-time Alabamian or Alabaman or however the hell you say it. Is
Yeah.
man, that weather there is just a little bit stupider than ours, and final race coming up, I guess next Saturday, the Lee Fields Memorial. That ought to be a really cool event. She's got a couple of real Cale Gale, who was one of the all-time Mobile, legendary racers, is actually going to come out and race with us for that weekend event. We're looking forward to that. we may actually have another guy out of the truck series that I can't mention his name yet because we're trying to get it all put together. A very formidable truck racer that cut his teeth there at Mobile. He might be coming out to race with us as well. So we're hoping that'll happen and have those two guys. But a lot of the Texans, they had kind of shied away from doing that. But now you've got the Houston. HMP is off and running already, 2 events here with, ironically, they're racing next Saturday as well. Just unavoidable with the reschedule for Mobile. But so Houston's trying to get up and rolling again. So the Texans have a place to race, and that's great. I mean, I'm glad that they're getting a racetrack and their racetrack. That's good. I mean, I know traveling is tough, and
who's
it makes it a little bit easier when it's a tad bit closer.
Who's promoting that event now? Is that the guy that owns the track?
That's actually it's called the Southern Short Track Racing Series. Southern Premier Racing Series is what that's called, and it's a dude by the name of John Alverson that's involved, and then Dean Baker there from Houston is involved in this as well. So it's a kind of a collaboration there between the two, and it's very much, from what I can tell, I've called the 2 races so far. It's very much a grassroots effort, collaboration with a lot of folks being involved, trying to pump in some extra dollars just to try to get something happening and springboard into 2023. I think that's the ultimate goal for them, to have some sort of season in 23. But it's one of those situations to where, and I've seen this so many times in the past, where race number 1 was just hit it out of the park. Race number 2, there was a little bit of fall off, of course, but of course race number 2 in Houston was the night of the 18-inning marathon baseball.
Oh, well,
game.
yeah, what
So
do you expect?
I think that kept a lot of people away. But and then on top of that, so you got the 2 asphalt tracks, which a lot of folks were coming to me and they're like, "Hey, we're going head to head." I'm like, "No, we're not." I mean, there's not a lot of crossover between the 2 tracks, but there is going to be, because they're in Houston. They're at 105 Speedway, which is over in Cleveland, the dirt track. They've got the Texas Grand coming up next weekend as well. So you'll have, I don't know how long it's been since this has happened, but you'll actually have there in the Houston area, you'll have the asphalt track and the dirt track running at the same time with rather large programs. And that's cool. Hopefully that'll back up the World Series title coming tonight.
Amen.
And then
There you go.
officially Houston is back.
Do any of the asphalt cars switch over and become dirt cars?
There are a couple that try it. It's with those modifieds, Don, that we would race out there. That's where you see it from time to time. The open wheel cars, but still, it's a lot harder to do that. What I know, there's an effort being put together, or ideas. When I say effort, ideas, to try to get a steel-bodied stock car class back on pavement, like in the days of the Houston Pro Stocks and so forth. Because what that would afford the opportunity is there's dirt factory stocks, actual steel-bodied stock cars that you could convert over by changing shocks, by changing, springs, whatever the case may be, suspension setup. That could kind of get you to where you could run multiple surfaces, as to where with the open wheel cars that are, more purpose built, it's harder to do that.
Yeah.
But of course, what you run into, where I've been the detractor to the idea of a steel-bodied stock car class on pavement, is okay. Let's try to do that, but let's make it to where it's the actual dirt cars that we're using, not purpose-built stock cars, because that's or pavement cars, because when you get into purpose-built pavement cars, that's where the dollars go up. That's where the shocks get more expensive. That's where the springs get more expensive, and that's where you price the common Joe out of being able to be competitive.
Yeah. Well, last time I talked to Gina, it's been a while. I guess I need to call her and see how she's doing, but I assume that she's doing well. It seems to me that things over there in Mobile have really picked up. But I was also under the impression that Gina's got competition right there around the Mobile area. Like there's a couple of other tracks that some of the drivers go to. How does that work? I mean, there's so much racing. How do you get people in the stands?
It's extremely odd over there, because there's Sunny South Speedway, which is very near there, and it's a competitor, but not so much a competitor to where it's competing for the classes that Gina's running. This is more of like the Legends cars, the Bandolero cars, the smaller, the smaller scale cars as compared to modifieds and trucks and so forth. So those two tracks actually have been working together to try to help each other out. And there's a drag strip, you remember, Don, right there in front of Mobile. They collaborate with Gina to try to promote. What you start running into in Alabama is you've got a racetrack in Montgomery, which I guess if you really look at it, of course Montgomery's a little ways off, but that would be the one that I would call more of the direct competition to Mobile. When you look at distance between the two tracks, but actually there's a good effort right there with Gina and Stan at that racetrack to try to help and work together and promote each other's shows, and that's really what needs to happen. And then you go 90 miles further down along the coast, and you've got Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, which that's kind of along the Gulf Coast. That's the breeding ground. That's the place. That's kind of the heaven of short track racing there. But they've started to fall off a little bit as well. So it's extremely imperative that these tracks work together to try to help each other and try to schedule as to where guys could do a little bit of traveling, because it's easier over there. I mean, when we talk Texas versus Mobile, that's 810 miles or however far it is, and that's rough. But there's got to be some cooperation there, and I know that gets hard because everybody wants a piece of the pie, and then once you get a piece of the pie, you want the entire pie, and that's what the promoters need to get away from. Otherwise, we're all going bowling on Saturdays.
Well, that's one way to put it. You like bowling?
Man, after 3 or 4 beers, man, I'm hitting them like crazy, man.
Yeah, I'll bet you are. So what does 2023 look like for short track asphalt racing?
This is going to be an interesting year coming up in 2023 because there's been an announcement here in the last 2 weeks, I believe it is, that with super late models, that there's going to be a national touring late model series, which is a combination of 3 different super late model series that are working together, but they'll have their regular schedules, and they'll have within their regular schedules, each series is going to have, I think, at least 3 national events, which they're going to crown a national champion. The only problem with the national series is they've left out the West Coast and they've left out the far north. There's another series actually that raced with us in Mobile called the SRL National Series that does encompass more of the West. It's actually a Western series, the old Spears Western series, and they've started to trickle down into the South. So the super late models is really something that's grabbing a lot of headlines. But when we get to 2023, in my opinion, for short track racing, whether it's dirt or asphalt, it's going to be a combination of 2 things. The scheduling that we were talking about in Texas, with all the dirt tracks, to how do you handle all the different racetracks when you only have a certain amount of weeks in the year? How do you share that to where everybody is going to be able to have a good schedule where these cars can travel? And of course, second's going to be affordability. You've got to keep your rules in check. Don't go in and start changing things. If anything, try to dial some stuff back. I know Gina's got something in place with a Chevrolet dealership out of Mississippi to try to help that affordability. Hopefully, in the years moving forward with a GM crate engine program, hopefully that's something that'll help. But hopefully across the board in short track racing, we see more of that because prices just keep climbing, and it's getting harder to do this.
Well, my friend, it's great to talk to you. Good to see you, and best of luck. Happy holidays coming up if we don't talk to you. And let's get together and talk again come January, February, when everybody's off and getting their cars ready for the 2023 season.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it, guys. Same to you guys. Be well over the holidays, and we'll talk again soon.
Ronnie Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen.
Go Stros.
Go Stros. There's always that. Dirty Air Radio Show, Gulf Coast Racing Series. Okay. Time now for the cruise-in calendar. Cruisers will be interested to note that I guess that Chrome and Coffee is tomorrow morning.
I was waiting for it.
9 to noon. Craig Bierman's. I'll tell you what, man. The last one, the parking lot was full.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of room. It's not that you can't, spread out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was a great one. And hoping that it could be a
You
good
have
one again
you
tomorrow.
have new folks coming in, and then you have the usual suspects that are there,
Yep.
and then it's all
And
great.
you have
And
Don
that's at the
Armstrong.
Avalon Diner.
Avalon
And-
Fountains.
Yep.
In the fountains, basically 90 and
59.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So next weekend is the Travis FFA Car Show in Richmond, Texas for Travis High School. And that's check-in at 9 a.m. And the show is 10 to 2. And it's a $25 fee, and that's a fundraiser. Also November 12th is Vet Fest Car and Bike Show at the Warriors Refuge. November 19th is Coles Crossing Coffee and Cars. Cars in the Park, and that's off of Barker Cypress in Cypress. The Ferrari Festival and support for Children's Cancer and Hematology Center is going to be December 4th. And there's a $5 spectator fee and a $20 car fee to go. And 100% of that goes to the Children's Cancer and
Very
Hematology
cool.
Center.
Very good.
Back to you.
Thank you so much. If you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, please. Time now for this hour's car review. Had a chance to drive the 2022 Hyundai Elantra. It comes in these trim levels: SE, SEL, the N Line, Limited, and the N as in Nancy. I had the N as in Nancy with the manual transmission. Mid-size sedan, seats 4 passengers plus the driver. Exterior changes from last model year, none. Exterior features include an extra low hood line, which is really noticeable. If you get up to the car, you notice that the grille is all smashed down. It's low to the ground, man. It's very good looking. Unique black grille on the end line, straight cut lines through the doors. Red accent highlights at the bottom edge all the way around the car, kind of like the Dodge did with the actual safety things, so they wouldn't get damaged with the yellow.
Scraping the splitters.
Right, but this is a built-on red line that goes all the way around the bottom of the car. Very edgy rear fascia with built-in spoiler and an extra wing on top of that. What I liked about it, the unique fascia, exclusively to the N. What could use improvement? They need to tub that car out.
Thank you, Don.
Interior highlights: high bolstered N seating up front, very high bolstered. So if you're a large person, you ain't going to fit in this. Well, you will, but you're going to be standing off of the seat when you sit down. Unique N labeled bits throughout the cabin. Passive phone charger on the front console, standard on the N. Well-designed interior, but a little bit too much plastic. But the car is not out of sight price-wise, so you got to make some compromises there if you're going to get people to buy the car.
For pricing.
Sure. Cargo trunk room is average. What I liked about it, those sports seats, they hugged me just like I like to be hugged. What could use improvement? More adjustment in the sports seats. Would like to have had a little lumbar support
family
there.
show.
You'd like to be hugged a little differently.
Here's something interesting. A 2-liter twin-scroll turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine. But it turns out 276 horsepower with 289 pound-feet of torque with the 6-speed manual transmission. Got 22 miles per gallon on the city, 31 on the highway. That's what it's rated for a combined of 25. I got 31.6 miles per gallon over 395.7 miles. So you see, it got horsepower in a relatively light 4-door sedan with a 6-speed manual transmission. It hauls donkey.
Yeah.
And it gets good fuel economy doing it.
What I liked about it, the variable sport exhaust on the car. Variable sport exhaust. You nail this thing, oh my God. It's like it opens up the world to the exhaust.
Okay.
And it can get loud. What could use improvement? Nothing. Just Hyundai, don't screw it up, okay?
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Ride and handling. Sporty suspension with adaptive shocks that you can change in there.
Tune.
Yep. What I liked about it, what could use improvement is I think it needs a track app.
Oh, boy.
Really?
In
Yeah.
the infotainment.
It was that level of
Oh,
performance.
absolutely. And this was a fun car in a sedan from Hyundai.
Could you notice a difference as you tuned the suspension
Yeah.
with the adjustability?
Absolutely. You could.
The sexiest part of that car was when I was in it.
And it was all about Jeff, as it usually is.
I was waiting for you.
Pricing. Are you ready? The base trim price is the same as the price as tested. $33,245.
So this is the car.
Yeah.
This is the car. There is no options.
It's all options.
There are no
all
options.
the options are in this
In
car.
that one.
And $33,000 will buy you a sedan hot rod that looks good and it drives good and it's
Wow.
got tons of horsepower, in my estimation. Base model price, if you just want an Elantra, a stripper, $20,200. One of the reasons that I love Hyundais and Kias, they're priced right.
Good pricing.
Yeah, for a good-looking car. Competitors, Honda Civic, $22,550 is where it starts. Kia Forte starts at $19,090, and the Mazda 3 starts at $22,420. This is a fun car for $30,000. Tons of fun.
And it looked good.
It did.
You know, it's just a good-looking car.
It is. So if you're looking for a sports sedan, I would encourage you to go and test drive this. I think that you'll be in. Matter of fact, I was looking online, and I think that there was one in stock at one of the Hyundai dealers in town. So they're out there, and it's a fun car. Hey, I want to remind everybody that the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show streams on the iHeartRadio app and Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. 30-minute podcasts are also available from your favorite podcast provider. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Hey, Houston, America's greatest hot rod tradition is back. Thanksgiving weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George Hart Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, performance cars, and live music. Do not miss the Ultimate Lowrider Showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models. On the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration, meet Bad Chad and wife Jolene from Bad Chad Customs on Friday. Saturday, it's Dave Kindig from TV's Bitch and Rise. Sunday, it's Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 25th to 28th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeartRadio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Wheel Time Car Talk.
Howdy. Is it a throwback for you?
Yes.
Who did it?
Granny.
Something May.
Not
No,
Ellie
it was
Mae.
Granny.
Mini Pearl.
Mini Pearl. Well,
The price tag
Mini
hanging off the
May.
hat.
Howdy,
all
yes. It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, more car talk stuff with us boys. Conrad will have This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you updated on the stories making car news this week. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, we need more Jeff Zekin, as we always do. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. Robert B. McIntyre has been texting me. What time is your show on?
Same time every weekend.
8 to 11.
Yeah.
Well, we're all getting older.
And he's probably just waking up.
Probably.
No,
he's
in from
been
the
up
club.
all night.
Yeah, he's just getting back
Yeah.
from the club.
Not getting back from the club. I hardly think so.
Yeah.
There
The
is a
old
story.
folks club.
There is a story that I ran across on Automotive News this week. In-car entertainment company Holoride launched the production version of its virtual reality entertainment platform as it looks to establish its lane in the growing in-vehicle entertainment industry.
Never heard of him.
The Holoride offering, get this now, which uses real-time motion data from the vehicle combined with unique content to create an immersive virtual reality entertainment experience for passengers. Will be available in Germany next week in mid-November and in the U.S. in early 2023. Touted as a theme park in motion or ride in the Motorverse, the company will offer its service as an add-on package for Holoride-ready 2023 model year Audi vehicles. It has plans to expand the package to other automakers in the near future. The tech entertainment company, founded by Audi, later spun off into an independent company, uses several system components to record a vehicle's motion data to the virtual reality headset in an encrypted format to create its immersive experience.
Oh, great.
So for the kids.
If you thought you could make Don scream like a 7-year-old girl on the side of the car,
I still
the-
understand.
I still do that.
put the headset on him, and he
It's
really
the
will.
goggles.
Yeah, it's the yeah.
So
It'd
it
probably
uses
be like a roller coaster.
So
Like
it-
the Oculus.
but it uses the car's motion to help in this entertainment
Enhance the
experience.
video, yeah.
Owners of Holoride-ready vehicles will need to purchase the launch package. In Europe, the company priced the launch package, Pioneers Pack as it's called, at the equivalent of $692. After the first year, the Holoride subscription will be about $20 a month or $180 for an annual subscription. If you got kids and they're all into this whole video thing, and you go on, think of that as a kid now. You're sitting in the back seat, you put on your goggles, and now you've got this whole thing going on in front of your eyes in the car that mom and dad are
that
driving.
plays to the motion of the vehicle.
Yeah. Holoride realized early in its development that there was an untapped market in the in-vehicle entertainment sector, especially regarding teenage passengers. Superconductor Creative Agency, founded by directors Justin Lin of the Fast and Furious movie franchise and Anthony Russo and Joe Russo of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, produced the game. In addition to Cloudbreaker, subscribers can access other games and educational entertainment. Holoride will add more content options in subsequent weeks and months, according to company officials. Man, if I'm a kid, I want this. The Holoride platform is also has a smartphone mirroring feature that enables passengers to stream media, surf the web, and interact on social networks on a virtual screen extending to a perceived 180 inches when using the VR headset. Oh, man, I am so into that.
I can see that now. The car I'm driving this week, the Kia Niro, coming over here this morning, I was testing the lane keeping thing.
Yeah.
And it is really good. I mean, it stays right there.
And it doesn't wander in the lane?
No, it does great. Even took some sweeping curves. So I'm thinking, so I could have come over here this morning and I could have been wearing that. all
No,
the way
you
over
could
here.
not. That's the problem. You
That's
cannot
why-
wear that.
That's why I
No.
don't ride with you. But last night at the restaurant, there was a large table. It had 5 kids. There was multiple families at this table. Each one of the kids had headsets, and they were looking at a tablet while the parents and the adults are conversing and having a
Keeping them
conversation.
occupied.
Keeping them occupied. That's not right. either.
Babysitters.
Yeah,
But-
babysitters.
So you could put this immersive headset on. Your kids are in the back seat, and they are experiencing through the virtual reality their life as Spider-Man, swinging from building to building until you slam on the brake, and then they scream, "Ah!"
Because Spider-Man splattered up
Yeah,
against the
Spider-Man
wall.
hits
Vivid
something.
imagination in that man.
No.
So you don't like the idea?
What about?
I think there's an opportunity for distraction for the driver.
Well, that goes without saying.
Well,
There's
I think there's enough driver distractions now, but I think that adds to it.
and what about getting sick in the car?
no, because those people that are distracted, they're going to be distracted by anything.
That's right. Squirrel.
Looking out the
Squirrel.
window. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought it was really cool. I remember when you could play videotapes in the car for the backseat
Oh, yeah,
passengers.
yeah.
Matter of fact, we took the girls on a vacation to Disney World. Okay, so what are we going to do for 2 days in the Suburban? So I bought a little TV that played a VHS, put it down between the seats, plugged it in. They were thrilled.
yeah.
And it worked just great. Well, this certainly does take it a step further, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, the Oculus headset. Now, David and Jason have the Oculus for the home, so you can watch what they're seeing in this Oculus set, and they like doing like the biplanes at the dogfights and things. And you're sitting on the couch watching it, and they're doing their thing. Yeah.
Their body motions
Yeah,
for
yeah,
whatever.
And so you can watch what they're doing.
You can watch what they're seeing. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can also watch their body motions as
Yeah, yeah.
they're, as
Do
they're
you get to
flying
pick
around.
what you watch?
Yeah, you can program it. You program it through the TV and whatever device that connects to the
It-
Oculus.
I mean, Have you ever done that?
you ever seen it?
No.
Yeah, I've
ever
I've
put one of
tried
those
it a couple of
headsets
times.
on?
Yeah, and it's pretty cool.
Sword fighting and stuff, and you have to set up a perimeter in the room in the Oculus so that if you get outside the perimeter, it kind of tells you in the screen.
You start smashing furniture.
Well, you can, and people do, and
It gets out of control.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah.
now you're inside the car, smashing the driver. Whack! Hit him in the head with
well,
it.
you have to control what they're watching. The
I
game.
think that this particular system is set up for the car.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a really cool story.
Sounds like a good idea, just how they apply it.
if Mike gets one, we ain't riding with him.
No. No. And have a very short leash on the
The on-ramp acceleration
Well, you could,
has to be
put-
like falling off a
put the
building.
head-
Yeah,
Headset
you'd be
on
like
and-
you could be at Indy or you could be at
Well, I was
Pomona
thinking the same
or-
thing.
or-
Yeah.
yeah,
Do some Formula One racing.
exactly.
You'll like that.
Hey, I was going to watch the Coda. started to watch the Coda race, thinking I'm going to participate in this. I'm going to see what all this big hoopla's about. And then they had the commentators before the race, and I turned it off.
my God.
I turned
and
it off.
went on
I
forever.
turned it off.
And the guy's walking through the paddock.
Yeah, through the grid walk,
Right. And it's
and nobody wanted to talk to him.
no. Nobody knew who he was, nothing.
That wasn't the
It was stupid.
Danica Patrick was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I turn it off. I unplugged my TV so it wouldn't even affect it. Yeah, the worst. And now there's a something going on with Formula One where they don't want to have the tire warmers. The tire warmers. I don't know. We need to heat them up a little more and da 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 da. Go away.
That'll cause crashes.
Go away. No, in the pits.
Yeah,
Put
no,
tire warmers on.
They have tire warmers.
Oh, you got to
Oh,
keep
yeah.
the
Hello,
tire.
Mars.
Oh, yeah.
Where have you been?
They
I don't watch it.
They put
They call them
heating blankets on them,
Heating blankets. They're tire warm blankets, is what they are, to keep the tire warm and supple.
so that way it comes up to
Cuddly.
Yeah.
comes up to race speed, race temperature quicker.
Yeah.
And then they have all kinds of sensors monitoring what the tire temperature is while they're running, and then you hear this coaching from the pits or the engineers saying, "Hey, your left rear tire is over temp." So
Yeah.
So-
So
What
don't
does he
make
do?
any more
Spit
right-hand
on it or
turns.
something?
excuse me.
So you just spit on it or something to cool it
There's
down?
not much you can do to
No,
help.
you got to have Formula One spit. You can't just have everyday spit.
Oh, gosh.
How long does it take to heat up tires
I have
at
no
100
idea.
miles an hour?
Well, to get them into the correct range, generally they say about a lap and a half.
Seriously?
Mars.
They obviously don't use the whole track.
And
like I would.
Mars is not. Do you ever watch any automotive stuff on television?
Sure. But
What?
I don't watch F1.
What do you?
What?
What,
Thank you,
Well,
Michael.
IndyCar, drag racing, all
I
of
watch
them.
drag racing and stuff.
IndyCar
but they
is
don't,
good.
Drag
Not the-
racing
not the
does
Ru-
not use tire warmers.
No, they
not
got
the
a big
RuPaul.
tire warmer with a big burnout that they do.
There you go. And it doesn't take them very long to do that either, does
No,
it?
it doesn't.
Nope.
And that's
All right.
not just warming the tire, that's laying sticky stuff down on the
I
track.
agree.
But
But I've also been on COTA, not at that kind of speed by any means, but it don't take long to warm up tires.
No, it does not. I went on COTA, as you know, during the Corvette invasion. We
Yeah,
had
there
a
you go.
morning there, and there were sections of the track that we got it up to speed, and I got the rev limiter thing and all of that going on, so it was good.
Yeah. But it did not take long to heat up them tires.
Well, I don't know how much the tires were
exactly.
at temperature, but I will tell you that I pushed it as far as I felt like going without spinning out. Ask Leslie; she'll tell you. She was sitting right there next to me.
Praying.
Did she have her eyes closed?
Screaming
I,
like,
I did not look
screaming
at her.
like a 7-year-old girl.
No, that was Dawn.
I was screaming. You had something that you wanted to bring up?
Well, full-size pickup truck segment, as popular as it is, customers aren't shy about choosing the high-end models and features. So if you looked at the average transaction price,
across full-size pickups.
right, so that's just the full-size truck.
You're talking about F-1500s.
Right.
Half tons.
Who do you think's the most expensive?
Ram.
No.
Ford.
Chevrolet.
GMC Sierra. And I think it's because of the Denali level. GMC Sierra average transaction price is $69,878.
Average.
Average transaction price.
Wow.
It really surprised me. The next closest was Ford F-Series at $63,800. So it's $6,000 less than the GMC.
It's like the
So
Cadillac.
does
pickup.
does that put in? Does it start with work trucks?
Yep, it's everything they sell. And GMC, they sell a WT as well. They don't sell as many as GM and or as Chevrolet and Ford do, but and then next up was Ram truck at $63,068. Chevy,
Yeah.
Chevy
right.
Silverado at $60,445, and Toyota Tundra at $60,049. But I was really surprised that the GMC Sierra was not just the highest, but $6,000 more on average than the next level.
Well, GM is making more billions of dollars than they ever have.
Well, and on the trucks, that's always been the case. They make a ton of money on trucks.
Right. Because they're cheap to make.
I don't know that they're cheap to make, but yeah,
Well,
they make so many of them too.
body on frame.
Right.
Easy. Old
Easy
school.
peasy.
So I thought that was, I figured everybody'd be within $1,000, $2,000 of each other, but to see the GMC, and it's got to be because that super high level of the GMC, that Denali, really drives it. But I still think in the Ford F-Series, the Platinum is definitely in the mid 70s. You guys drove a Platinum, right? Do you remember what your price was?
But again, if you're talking average price, think about how many F-150s that they sell that are
Cheap.
That comparatively speaking, they're cheap.
Well, if that's the average price, there are half of them that are much cheaper
Right.
and half of them that are more expensive.
And they sell
$100,000 pickup trucks are nothing anymore. They're every day. Then they sell them every day. Speaking of Ford, I got a phone call from a buddy, Ken Peabody. He's the press guy for Ford that I get
You're
occasionally. Hey, Don. This was Thursday. Hey, Don. Got something you might want to drive. I said, sure. What do you got? I just got delivery of a Ford Bronco Raptor.
Oh, wow. When is that coming?
Ooh.
Next Thursday.
That'll be fun.
That will be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
And I assume that I assume that it's the two-door. I don't know. Is it?
I
Do you
have no
know?
idea.
I haven't done any
I
research
think
on
I've
it.
seen pictures of them, promo shots out in the dunes, but I never noticed if it was 2 or 4 door.
Right.
So what's the powertrain?
Google it.
Well, it's got the Raptor motor in it, the twin turbo V6.
It's got to be a 4-door.
I'm thinking 4 door to get the size
Yeah,
up.
in the weight, in the wheelbase.
Do they make
Well,
those?
I don't recall. I read a story about it, and the complaint by the writer was the fact that the thing weighs 4,000 pounds.
Wow.
Got to be a big full size.
Yeah.
So Conrad's
And
obviously doing it.
they're showing it as a 4-door.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
Get the wheelbase and everything together on it. Yeah.
And they're showing a price
Don't tell him.
above the GMC Denali, the GMC truck.
Oh yeah, that
I'll
doesn't.
just
Above
leave it at that.
63.
This is the Bronco,
And it's the Raptor.
the Raptor Bronco.
The bells and whistles.
Pretty cool.
Neat.
You got to think it's a 3-liter EcoBoost, real high zoot suspension system with Fox
Shocks.
shocks, and they call it a Haas HOSS 4.0. Be a pretty cool
A 4-liter V6 twin turbo.
3-liter twin turbo.
Well, what's 4? What did you say?
The
Said a 4.0.
Haas is the Haas 4.0 system,
Oh.
which is the suspension system.
Oh, okay.
So semi-active dampeners. But they're saying this, they don't give a
It is
horse.
Well, they
rail
said it had a foot travel in the suspension.
and that's probably part of that system.
Which
Right.
would be like the Raptor truck. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
part of
Right.
its thing is, the suspension on it.
And
On
adjustable. I'm sure.
37-inch tall tires.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo.
But yeah, what size is the wheel?
Go back. Yeah, I was going to say you cut it off right there just before they got to the wheel. 17.
17s. Yeah. So it's great, big, fat, tall,
Knobbies.
thick
Got
knobbies.
lots of rubber to
They're
work
going to
Yeah.
hear you coming before they see you.
Well, for all of those Bronco fans out there, this will be one that I'll go down the freeway and I'll have people pulling up next to me, taking pictures and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that happens to us all the time, though.
Well, that's just taking
Yeah.
pictures of you,
that's the
not
police.
necessarily. the
That's
car
what it is. That's right. Taking pictures of me.
Put on milk cartons.
with your red pumps on.
Well, I've got the doors off, and they can see my hairy legs in there.
Do the doors come off the Bronco pretty
Yes.
easy?
I don't know. I've never done it.
I know they come off. I didn't
well,
know how
next
easy
week
they
we'll
were.
take them off.
Not only do they come off, but they also store in the back, unlike the Wrangler.
But that's on the 2-door, not the 4-door.
I don't know.
I would think the 2-door would be easier to remove the doors and configure it that way than 4 doors. You're going to have more room to store the doors. Just saying, this doesn't make sense.
You know, if I was going to buy something like that, it would not be a 4-door.
All right. Yeah.
It'd be a 2-door. I'm a 2-door kind of guy. Always have been. Have I ever owned a 4-door car? I don't think I have.
I've owned both.
I mean, 4-doors are handy. As a matter of fact, there was a discussion that I read about today's youth, and
The Utes?
Utes.
that they're all into 4-doors because it's easier to get in and out of the back seat with
Right.
their friends.
Right.
We didn't care about that.
Yeah, we were cool.
We had no friends.
We had no friends, and they were 2-door cars. And if we wanted all of us to go, then we went in Danny Edmondson's old Econoline van.
Or they drove their own cars. 'Cause
No,
everybody was cool.
no. Went to Kmart and bought those webbed chairs. Didn't attach them to anything in the floor. They just were in the thing, and you pop open.
And this is the Econoline van with the engine in the middle.
Yes.
Which is a perfect seed and twig sorter. Kind of put your stuff out there and drive it, and the seeds and twigs would all fall to the back, and all that would be left up front was usable.
You know, we never tried that, so
that's what
we'll
happens,
leave
so.
that up to you.
Yeah.
We used to go from our house over to Ventwood.
Is that anything like Twigs and Berries?
Twigs and seeds.
Twigs and seeds.
What?
We would go over to Vent.
Okay, so
To the
Vent,
Texas
Louisiana?
Pelican.
you
Yeah,
don't
to
have
the
to
Texas
subscribe.
Pelican.
Don't subscribe to that one.
But the guy had a Ford Econoline van, but he had the long bed in the back of it, and so we would pile up in it and go over there and come back. We didn't do the seed sorting.
So you guys would all snuggle up in the back from Neaterville.
Did it have seats in it?
Kind of cuddle with
No,
each
you
other.
sit on the bed, the bed.
The
homemade
bed?
He built like a little bed in it.
It was a piece of plywood and carpet on top
Well,
of
it
it.
had
probably.
shag carpet actually in the
Gotta
headlock.
have
See, we
shag
didn't
carpet.
have any of that.
You
This
gotta
thing
have
was
that.
buck naked inside.
Oh boy.
And so were the people in the
I
back.
was
of
going
it.
to say, let me think.
No, what? No, wasn't none of that stuff going on. No hanky panky.
Oh.
The Kmart folding webbed chairs that you'd pick up for $1.99 when they're on sale at the Blue Light Special. Throw those in the back, and that's what you sat on. Don't turn the corner too quick because you fall out of the chair.
got a
Well,
lot
that's
of
what
this
we
going
were
on.
always afraid of because we were going to the Texas Pelican because over there it was legal to drink at 18, and they had music, live
The
music.
Texas Pelican in Vinton, Louisiana.
Yes.
There's a horse race track over there.
There is now.
And there has been for decades.
Well, the Pelican's been there longer than that.
You got to remember, he's 71 years old.
No, I'm not. That's Don.
No, Don's 72.
Oh, well, I'm not as old
I
as
am
Don.
not 72.
You're about to be.
No.
Golly.
Denial. He's the queen of England. Egypt. Denial.
Anyhow.
The thing about the Texas Pelican is
I got the way.
Yeah. It had a rotating stage on it, and so the band that was playing would rotate out while the band that was coming in would rotate in playing the same song. We saw the Winter Brothers over there. We saw, what were the
The
twins?
Who brothers?
Edgar and
Edgar
Johnny
Winter.
Winter.
Oh, Winter.
Winter Brothers.
Yeah, Percy Sledge used to play over there all the time, and it was great.
Was it?
Yes,
Did you ever
sir.
put money on the horses over there?
We never went to the horse track.
I only went to the horse track one time because I got in free.
Typical.
Typical. And what a dump. That place was a dump.
Well, I've been to the horse track up by my house.
That's not a dump.
That's actually quite nice.
But the one in Vinton, Louisiana, whew.
They still run horses out there?
Yep. When they're in season, they also do off track betting, so you can go there
And just sit in the
would
lounge.
bet on horse races
sure
everywhere
wish
else.
they'd have some midget racing up there.
Well, you
At the
like
horse track.
The little guys.
Dirt track
Or the
racing?
little horses?
No,
the little
the midget
horses?
cars.
The short horse.
Can't say midget anymore.
You know, your sense of humor is just a little bit, bit
know,
off the wall.
To
there,
those
Mars.
watching, they've been eating Hall's cough drops, and I think there's something in them this morning.
No,
'cause
there
both
is.
of them
Those aren't
are
cough
eating-
drops.
Those aren't cough drops?
No, those are gummies.
Oh, that's what it is.
Pot gummies, I think.
Whatever they're doing
No,
over there.
probably
They're
not.
giggling. A couple of schoolgirls. Wow.
Just the uniform. Never mind.
The uniform.
Never mind.
Becky, come and get him. Take him home.
There's gonna
Do
be some
something with him.
Role playing when he gets home.
Role playing.
Role playing.
Does Becky ever listen to the show? That's his wife, by the way.
She does occasionally.
She does.
Yes.
And what
Actually, she tries to watch it on YouTube.
and what does she say about it?
Not anything I'd care to repeat.
What? Yeah, I can only imagine. She probably hates me.
No, not yet. There's still time.
The show's not over.
Yeah. I did want to mention one thing before we get into the news headlines. I mentioned this last hour a long time ago, which was like yesterday. You know, we're going to be at Autorama again. I don't know why they keep inviting us back, but they do.
It's awesome.
So we're going to be at
wanna see
Autorama
you on
again.
the
I'm sure
floor.
we're going to be set up right across the way from Craig Bierman. And this year there's going to be a fence between Craig Bierman and our booth.
We'll see how long it takes Don to climb the fence.
Yeah.
You'll get floored again.
I'll get floored again.
Easy.
Yeah. I did want to mention to everybody the guests this year that they're going to have. You know, they always bring in somebody every day of the show, except for Thanksgiving Day. And this year, they are going to have some really cool folks. Bad Chad and Jolene from Bad Chad's Customs.
Great couple to watch. I love the show.
I do too.
And I don't think the show is on anymore. I think he's doing a YouTube show.
Whatever. But they're going to be at Autorama from 1 to 5. That's on Friday. On Saturday, Dave Kindig
Yep.
I wonder if he'll have his.
from Bitchin' Rides, and I hope Kevin doesn't come with him. 1 to 4.
You don't like Kev
He's not a
Dog?
fan of Kev
No,
Dog.
I'm not a fan. They need to wheel him back. Anyway, and then on Sunday from 1 to 4, Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars from 1 to 4.
I like all three of them.
All three of the guests.
Yeah, I like all three of the guests.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I just wanted to bring that up because
Well, I wonder if Coker's going to come in with his band as well.
Count 77?
No, he's not going to be there long enough for that.
No.
Yeah, I can't imagine them paying for the band to.
Yeah.
At any rate,
then
you'll hear the commercial that's coming up here in just a few minutes.
I'd have to
but,
sit in with them in that.
Yeah.
Jam.
Big fun at Autorama this year.
Yeah.
But that's Thanksgiving weekend. Opens Thanksgiving afternoon.
Great guest lineup. Absolutely great
yep.
guest lineup.
And then runs so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a 4-day show.
We'll be there the whole time.
And they'll also have music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. All right. Some of the stories making auto news this week. Subaru says U.S. inflation is so bad that the automaker has trouble competing on wages with the local McDonald's restaurant outside its Indiana assembly plant. Those soaring American labor costs, CEO Tomomi Nakamura said, are one reason his company is not thinking of new investments to build electric vehicles stateside anytime soon. In Indiana, part-time workers at McDonald's earn $20 to $25 an hour.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is in competition with what temporary workers make at the Subaru plant in Indiana.
And you can eat all your mistakes at the McDonald's. You can't eat your mistakes at the Subaru plant.
Nakamura acknowledged the risk of a downturn, but said demand for Subaru vehicles remains robust. Company has about 48,000 back orders here in the United States and is dealing with a 10-day supply of inventory. Subaru sees U.S. sales climbing 25% to 631 units this fiscal year.
631,000.
That's what I said. 631,000 units this fiscal year.
That's pretty amazing for Subaru.
Yeah. General Motors said Friday it had temporarily halted paid advertising on Twitter after Elon Musk completed his takeover of the social media company. Largest U.S. automaker said it was engaging with Twitter to understand the direction of the platform under the new ownership.
And, when they want to come back and they realize their mistake, you should charge them double.
Yeah. So you heard Ford ousted an executive because quality wasn't job one. Top quality executive retired this week at Ford.
Yeah, I like the way they retire.
Yeah. Well, because you still get all your benefits. You're never held accountable for all the mistakes you made.
Mm-hmm.
The automaker announced Wednesday that Stuart Rowley would step down after 32 years with the company to be replaced by current VP Jim Bambick.
Quality. They have more recalls, I think, than most automakers. Ford does.
Well, a little bit of that's about the volume of cars that they sell, but I think Mercedes has had by far the most vehicles of inventory recalled.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I somehow once again have lost track, and we didn't get to this week in auto history, but we're going to.
What?
Not right now, but we're going to. All right?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Time now for a quick break here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We'll be back after this. Oop, no, I didn't want to play that one. I'm playing this one. Wait, let's start this again. Here we go.
Houston, America's greatest hot rod tradition is back. Thanksgiving weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, performance cars, and live music. Do not miss the Ultimate Lowrider Showcase. Sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models. On the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration. Meet Bad Chad and wife Jolene from Bad Chad Customs on Friday. Saturday, it's Dave Kindig from TV's Bitchin' Rise. Sunday, it's Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 25th to 28th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Wheel Time Car Talk.
This is your go-to place for entertaining car talk, the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Ever done it around the world? A show and tell, so to speak. The four of us are going to attempt it right here on this program. Jeff has a feature on 8 common problems with tires. Later, we get caught up with the Lilienthals on the Alcan 500, the Rebel Rally, and SEMA. Conrad has the clinic, the car clinic, plus we got the stories making auto news headlines. All straight ahead on this edition of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Thank you very much for joining us on this Saturday. We're going to do things a little bit different in this segment because right now we are going to do Conrad's This Week in Auto History, which normally would have been in the last segment, but because of my brain malfunction today, I missed it.
Just changing things on the fly.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Adapt
And
and
this is
overcome.
a segment that we normally have a guest. We're not going to have a guest, but we've got other things for you today. But I think that This Week in Auto History would be a good thing to start with.
Sure.
This week in 1911,
I was born.
Chevrolet was founded.
Oh, really?
And I thought it was older than that. I didn't realize it was 1911.
Lewis Chevrolet.
Correct. So Chevrolet, that was one of their first cars right there.
That was?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's
So-
a 1911? Mm-hmm. Really?
And then in 1927, the Ford Model A production begins as they close out the Model T production from 1908.
That's cool.
You got to remember, they made, 15 million Model Ts?
And they ruined them with no roads.
Well, but the car was built to withstand it. And then, the things they learned on the Model T, they added to the Model A. The Model A is still a very popular car. You see a lot of people will
like
hot
it.
A
rod.
lot of, I was going to say
Like
hot
it.
rods.
I had a model.
And then in 1935 was the introduction of the coffin nose cord.
Why do they coffin nose?
Because
I've
when you
never-
look at
the
when
hood.
you look
yeah,
at the
I know, but
hood-
I've never heard it referred to as a
it's always
coffin
been,
nose.
It's always been called coffin nose.
Really?
Yeah, beautiful car and extremely innovative car. If you think about that,
That's got hidden headlights on it.
it has hidden headlights on it. It was front-wheel drive, and it was available with a supercharger.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep, all Cords were front-wheel drive.
I had no clue.
So, and you got to remember Cord, Auburn, not Packard.
Tornado.
No, not Packard.
Cord and Auburn were kind of sister.
Tornado.
Were kind of sister brands, but how innovative was that car to be that kind of power front wheel drive with hidden headlights. And then in 1939, the 40th National Automobile Show opened in Chicago, Illinois, with cutting edge development. It was also the time that Packard displayed a prototype featuring quite an expensive device, air conditioning.
Really?
Very cool.
In 1939, Packard introduced air conditioning at the Chicago Auto Show, and similar as the system works today, as far as using a Freon product, the Packard air conditioning system would cool or heat the air in the car after the designated level, and it would also dehumidify the air and circulate the cooled air to create a comfortable environment.
Did people even know what they had?
I don't think so.
And that's Beetlejuice's dad right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. You got to think that through the
Krueger.
40s and the early 50s, air conditioning was just a water cooler that you hung on the side of
I
your
remember
window
that.
that looked like
That
a torpedo.
bullet thing, yeah.
Looked like a
Blew
torpedo.
air
It worked well, but it wasn't air conditioning. And
But
then-
it was great for your skin.
Yeah.
kept you humidified.
Mm-hmm.
And then air conditioning was actually mounted in the trunk with these big tubes that blew cold air in from the back.
The
And-
57 Chevrolet is the
Right.
one that comes to mind.
Wow.
So, and then in 1955, the Studebaker Hawk line was introduced. I think that's a very creative car. That was, and I believe it's a Lowry car. Beautiful, but the only place you really see these anymore is at Bonneville.
Oh, darn.
You see an occasional one out on the street, but that car has become quite the
Bonneville
favorite
salt
car. It
racer
was
type
Bonneville
thing.
Salt Flat car.
Wonder why.
Probably because for what it was in stock form, there was a pretty good aerodynamic package to it.
Are you serious?
Coefficient
yeah.
on that, yeah, was low.
I guess. Well, the roof line is low.
Yep. It's
And
got
it's got-
vertical stabilizer fins. It's got kind of a slanted front grille.
Yeah.
White sidewalls.
And then in 1957, Chevrolet announced as a 1958 model the
gorgeous.
Impala.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
The Impala came, everybody thinks that there was an Impala in the Tri-5s, and there wasn't. The top line was a Bel Air.
Yeah.
So Chevrolet, trying to get above that, introduced the Impala in 1958, and that's a one-year-only body in 1958.
And
It
they're
was.
gorgeous.
And the quad headlights.
Quad headlights, yep.
That was a big thing back then.
Not
I
only
remember
the,
that.
The headlights, but look beneath with the runners with the I would assume the turn indicators.
Oh, yeah,
underneath
yeah.
In the grill itself.
And then in 1970, Toyota introduced the Celica. Cool little car.
I remember that car vividly when it came to market, and they were very popular at the time, and it was really kind of a cool little car back in the day for that period of time.
Yeah, I had a 72.
Wow.
So it's the same body style. Yeah,
Silica?
Cool, very cool little car.
4-cylinder.
4-cylinder, 5-speed.
Oh, it had a 5-speed.
It wasn't mine. I was just driving it, but yeah.
Whose was it? Did you tear it up?
No, I didn't.
He didn't know whose it was. It was just parked down the street.
Keys in it.
Got
There you
keys
go.
in it, yeah.
And then in 1983, the first minivans from Chrysler left the assembly line,
Oh yeah, huge.
which truly
Changed
created a
new
market
market,
that
yep.
didn't exist.
Right.
Correct.
And
Everybody wanted one
and Lee
Absolutely.
Iacocca absolutely saved Chrysler
with that.
with that. And you got to remember, the federal government had loaned a bunch of money to Chrysler, and this was
And they paid it back right away.
and
Well,
this
early,
was the vehicle that
Yep.
helped them pay it back early, unlike
Other
other
companies.
manufacturers.
Hey, doesn't GM still owe money?
They've been,
We're not
they've
mentioning
been
any
forgiven. And that's this week in auto history.
You found it gonna cough?
Spit it out. Spit it out.
No, come on.
He got a bigger cough than that.
All right. Well, that was good.
I liked it.
Yeah, I thought the air conditioning piece was kind of cool.
Something I thought of on the Cord, you mentioned the Cord. A few years ago when we started talking to the DeLorean guys, 'cause when they moved back to Houston, they're operating under a special licensing where they only produce a small quantity. It's what allowed them to start making cars again. Well, there was a guy here in Houston that he had bought the rights to do that to a Cord.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, he was talking about
Kind of like a
doing-
continuation.
Yeah, he was talking about doing it here in Houston, but he was looking for financing. I made myself a note. I need to go look and see if he ever did anything with that.
But what about the guy that is doing the building, if you will, of the original cars that bought all of the stock inventory.
Yep. DMC. out in
He's
Humboldt.
he's still around.
Oh, yeah. He's still around, still selling cars, and still, he is.
Have you seen the pictures of the new?
They are not coordinated at all.
No.
Actually,
They're renderings.
They are quite at
Separate.
odds with each other.
I see.
The new car is being supported by DeLorean's daughter, and they are not happy with DMC here in Houston. Never have been. That he bought everything out. And,
Well, they had a chance to buy it out
well,
too.
they didn't have the money to.
Well, he did,
money
and
talks.
so yeah.
Yeah, but they because I've talked to James, that we've talked to before over there, and they're kind of closed mouth, and I didn't realize what was going on between. I thought it was them creating this deal in San Antonio, and it's not. And he made that very clear, and he said, "You want to talk about that? You need to call them."
Yeah, they are not in any
Not
connected
together.
at all. And then I've seen some pictures.
Now, is the new rendering that you saw? Is it
no,
called?
they actually have a prototype built.
Is it
Yes.
called a DeLorean?
No, it's called a JZD, John Z. DeLorean, but there's no DeLorean in the name of it. So instead of DMC, it's JZD.
Yeah, it's because the one here in Humboldt is a DeLorean Motor Company. I mean, they really have that name, and
Well, they paid for it.
yeah, and these guys over here, they've got whatever the lawyers came up with that they could legally do.
And I've seen the pictures of the prototype, and it still has the gull wing doors, except it's a 4-passenger car, and one gull wing on both sides. So it opens up to the front seat and the rear seat passenger with one door.
So it's still a 2-door.
Still a 2-door,
But a 4-passenger.
But it opens to both seats, yeah.
I thought kind of a creative way to do that, to
Yeah.
bring something different to the market, but it's all EV.
Oh, okay. All EV.
And they're talking, like everybody with an EV, it's
So
easy
you get to
charge.
88 miles an hour faster.
That's right. I asked Jeff to kind of expand his story that he's going to do on the 8 common problems with tires. And let's talk about tires, because it's getting to that point of the year in many parts of the country that people are either putting their cars away, their nice cars that they have collected or store or bring out in the summertime,
Show cars
and
and
put them
whatnot,
away,
yeah.
or getting their daily driver set up to run in inclement weather, whether it be rain or snow. And I thought, well, this would be a good time to talk about that, running up to Thanksgiving. And, a lot of people go to Aunt Mary's house for
That's
Thanksgiving
exactly
and that
right.
sort of thing.
Yep. Travel for the holidays, and you got kids and family in the
And
car.
up in Wisconsin, and with you up in Detroit, and him in New York, you don't count.
Golden Triangle.
That a lot of people always had winter tires, and the winter tires came off when the snow went away,
Yep.
And you had to store them somewhere in your house safely.
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, and I did. I had winter and summer tires. The summer tires had the mag wheels on it, and you had your white leather, cool.
The good
profile.
stuff.
Yeah, you'd put a coat of wax on the rims and make sure that the treads are clean. Take all the little rocks and everything out of the tread, stack them up, and put a cover on them in the basement. And then
Oh
in
yeah, I was the
springtime,
one. I was the one as a kid who did that.
Yeah,
for
I did too.
Both my mom's car and my dad's car. I was out there taking the tires off, stacking them in the storage room in the garage.
So you didn't have a separate set of wheels for that set of tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the tires stored inflated, and oh gosh, you had to lay 2 pieces of wood on the ground, a tire, 2 pieces of wood, a tire. My dad was very anal about how that happened. And the funny thing was those tires would last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Was not uncommon.
Well, yeah, and depending on
Really
where you
used
lived in
them
New
half the
York,
year.
in the Michigan, Detroit area, you would 4 months maybe, and then you would pull them off. The first sign of inclement weather, the trees are coming, changing colors. That's the time. And then you put your steel wheels on, and if you had snow tires and you needed them, and depending on your area, you'd throw the snow tires on. Not a lot of spikes or cleats, with the
Well, I think
the tires. I didn't have those, but you could.
Yeah.
Oh, we had studded snow tires.
Studded, yeah.
But my dad would always wait until the roads got icky, and we'd put the studded snow tires on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never did that. And then the tire manufacturers nowadays, I know Bridgestone, if you get snow tires, you can actually put your own studs in the tires themselves at different lengths, different millimeter lengths. They will, depending on the area you're in.
And I'm sure that absolutely voids any warranty.
No, it's part of the tire. If you're going to get snow tires with studs, what size studs you want? And then they'll.
No, we want the Don stud.
Well, that's kind of like taps on your shoes. We always in junior high school we had those horseshoe
cleats.
Horseshoe taps that you put on your heel so you'd walk down the hallway in school.
Clickety-clack.
Well, like golf shoes, you can change out the spikes in those. You know,
Well, they don't have those
tool
anymore,
and all
Mike.
that. What?
They don't necessarily have spikes in golf shoes anymore.
No, they've gone to that plastic.
Yeah, rubberized soles, deep tread.
Mike,
I'm keeping my golf shoes.
he doesn't
in.
watch racing on television. He doesn't
golf.
He doesn't golf. What do you do?
Let me think of
Exactly.
that. I'll
Well,
have to think about that.
don't even tell. We don't want to know.
But getting back to it, in different areas of the country, you got the snow belts and the sun belts and things. You've got places in Colorado where they have mountains, and your daughter drives in the mountains.
And she's got all weather tires, and they have
All
worked
season,
all season, and they work great.
Yeah.
Even in the snow.
Well, she knows not to go into areas where they've got 10 inches of snow. She's not going to go there. Nobody does until they clean the roads and there's a definite path or way to go.
Does anybody use snow chains anymore?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
My daughter has some for her Audi because there are sometimes, depending on where you're driving, there are chain requirements
That's right.
to go over certain passes. So when she goes into Lake Tahoe, especially for New Year's Eve, two of the passes that she goes in are required chains. Usually, if there's any snow on the ground, and one of them is the Truckee Pass or the Donner Pass from where the Donner family had their meals.
Well, it's funny because they have the same thing
Meals
in
on
Colorado, and especially headed up to that big national park that Katie likes to go up to.
Yeah.
It says right there, in inclement weather, you have to have chains.
Well, and Rochelle says the cool thing is where that station is that says you have to have chains is always a pull-off to put your chains on. And generally there is a Department of Transportation truck or a couple of them there that will help you put your chains on, which really surprised me. I bought her a set of chains that clip on and work.
I'm just going to say,
beautifully.
because that whole technology has changed as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because back in the day, it was literally a chain that you put on there. But today, it's kind of different. It's almost as if it's a
studded
steel cable kind of thing.
Right. And if you're driving down the road and you see a tractor trailer and you see on the back of the cab where they have chains hanging off, generally those are the chains they need for their traction tires on the actual tractor itself. So you can see those. But to that point, yes, steel wheels. I put hubcaps on to protect the lug nuts. Obviously, you're going to get cold and stuff on them. Gunk. But and then, of course, the salt. The salt will deteriorate it as well, just like anything else. Yeah.
Well, I've got to buy Leslie a tire, one. She's got one brand new one that's on there.
We've talked about that.
I know. I'm going to have to do that because she's got 3 other tires on there that iffy is not even a good word to describe it.
Yeah.
Anyway, why don't you do your eight common problems with tires?
Well, we talked a lot about that because the tires, knowing the signs of a tire problem is your first thing. And overinflation is one of them. These aren't in any particular order. It's just a matter of how you address what you have on your vehicle. Overinflation is one, and overinflation, that contact patch of that tire is the only thing between you and basically the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Because if it's overinflated, you've got a different contact patch. It's thinner. It's in the center of the tire itself. And obviously, you're going to wear out that center more than you would the sidewalls.
Well, her Jaguar, it requires 40 pounds of pressure in those tires.
Yeah,
40.
That's a lot.
And I was shocked. And, of course, it only had 30 because some moron that did the last tire check, everything's got 30. No, it's not.
And
look at the placard.
Exactly. You look at the placard. It's either on the
driver's door,
or it's in the glove box, or in your manual somewhere, or you can call the dealer with the OE tires on it. Not necessarily have to have the OE tires, but it's recommended. And then, of course, the air inflation is proper for the vehicle.
And it's not about on the side of the tire it says max air pressure.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do
you
that.
don't wanna
That's
do
where
that.
you get into this, the
Right,
overinflation.
exactly.
What are you doing,
So,
Morris?
well, I'm trying to get his attention because my question is, like in this picture, you can see that that it's rounded. It's got too much air in it, and it's rounded. And I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen that actually on a car because of the way the car
well,
puts
the new
pressure on
radial
it.
tires.
Yeah.
In the bias ply tires, that was easy to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the radial tires, not so much.
My truck
Right.
tires, you can't tell that. I'm
You-
just curious.
You can, well, in a way you can if you know what you're looking for, because the sides of the tires on the sidewall, they won't be flat to the ground. So you're going to know that there is a bulge in it. Now, this is a little over exaggerated
Yeah.
on that pic.
Okay,
That's
okay.
just to show you that this
Yeah,
is
so
what
you can see it.
right.
Okay.
Then and the next one, obviously, on the other side of that would be underinflation. 60% of the vehicles on the road have underinflated tires.
I believe that.
And it increases the risk of understeer, which you can get into collisions with that, car accidents, poor handling, maneuvering, trying to change lanes or avoid something in the road on a quick turn. That's going to impact it. General wear. And, of course, what happens with this is the outsides of the tires wear quicker. And, of course, the middle doesn't have that wear pattern that you would have on a normal inflation.
I would think it would be harder on the sidewalls also.
Well, it does. And friction creates heat, and heat builds
in the sidewall.
in the sidewall.
When they're
okay.
underinflated.
And that's how you
That's
can
a
do that
blowout.
as well. That would be a blowout, yeah, absolutely. And then cracking and bulging. This is a common thing, not only with people running into stuff, and we'll get into that too, but also the heat. Now, being down here in Texas is different than being up in, say, New York or where you grew up. The sun can actually denigrate the tires as well because of the heat and the sun on the tire taking all of the moisture
Sure.
and all of the oils
The
out of the tire.
ultraviolet damage.
Exactly, the ultraviolet damage. It's like putting sunglasses on. You're going to protect your eyes. Well, that happens as well there. So cracking and bulging is a problem as well.
Well, I remember Angela's Honda. I had you look at those tires
Mm-hmm.
years ago when we were out there at the high school fundraiser
Yep.
with Mac DeLop.
Yep.
And you said, no, not much to worry about, but, pay attention to it.
Yep. And the next one, just driving at normal speeds can actually deteriorate a tire if you don't take care of them. If you're not looking at the tire and you've got, say, a bulge or maybe a tread separation or maybe a cut and you're not aware of it, driving at speeds will enhance that tire's problems. So that you always have to look at them, glance at them. If you're getting a gas station and you're getting gas or you're running into the store, take a look at them.
Well, most new cars these days will tell you what the tire pressure is. All you got to do is just hit the button.
Yeah, the TPMS
Yeah, but
unit.
that doesn't deal with what Jeff's talking about tread separation. That only deals with air pressure.
Right.
So it's always wise to kind of do the once around your car once a week at least to kind of visually look at the tires.
Do you do that?
Oh, yeah.
You do, because you're the highway king.
Yep. And actually we found tread separation on my van, the shop van. 2 of them had separated. It had a vibration in it, and I'm like, okay, it's got to be right front. Didn't know, so I kind of went out and looked and didn't see anything. And then eventually you could literally see the separation happen. And so we ended
absolutely.
up putting tires on it.
Well, and I just went through the tire recall. I had 4 new tires put on mine recently, a couple of September, I think it was, August, September. And within
Recall, so you got them for free.
I got 2 because of the date of the tire.
Oh,
If these tires were made in this particular
Date range.
they want them back. And, of course, I contacted where I got them. They said, yeah, we'll bring them in. How about tomorrow? A couple of days later, I had them put on, and boom. But they all look brand new because it was a short period of time when I
yeah,
had
because you only had it for like a month
yeah,
or something.
5 weeks, something like that. Misalignment. So misalignment can be a number of things. It can be wearable parts. It can be your camber caster, tie rod ends, bushings, or just a misbalanced tire.
See, and I thought that was Don's drag show name, Misalignment.
Misalignment. And indexing of a tire, too. If you look at the side of a tire, there's dots. There's inspection dots. Some of them are yellow dots. Some of them are red dots. If it's a red dot, that's an index dot. And I don't believe that.
Good.
Sorry. An index dot means that's where the tire has to be mounted at the valve stem. It's where the tires balance. And tires are not perfectly round. Tires are more of an egg shape if you actually drill down and look at it. Rims are not perfectly round. They're the same. They're egg shaped. So if you match a lower part of the egg to the higher part of the rim, you'll get less weight to put on that tire.
Right.
And it's called indexing. And then, of course, you've got road force machines where you see them spin and they cover it up and they put like a giant wheel on the side of the tire.
A weight on it.
A giant wheel to spin the tire. That's called road indexing. That means that's seating the bead of the tire. Because when you put tires on, those beads aren't seated up properly until you drive several miles down the road. Could be up to 10 miles before that bead seats, actually pops into place.
And the other thing is the road force balancing, they're actually measuring the consistency of the sidewall build as they rotate that around. And depending on your car, that can add a vibration that's a nightmare to find.
It could be minimal that you really don't feel it. You just turn up the radio, or you can go ahead and have it fixed. Turn up the radio and everything. And then the other one is cuts and punctures. Cuts and punctures are driving over a nail, pothole, things of that nature. You can actually see on the side of a sidewall or on the tread of a tire before belt separation a bulge. Sometimes it's overlap where they make the tire, where they took the two pieces of rubber and overlapped them and melted them together, or it's from an actual impact. And a lot of warranties don't cover impact. Impact would mean hitting a giant pothole, hitting a curb, running something over, a piece of wood, whatever that makes that impact. The way to see if it's an impact versus a lap of the belt is you take the tire off the rim. If there's granules or powdery material inside the tire, that's an impact. Because when the tire hits, it sort of explodes itself inside, and the debris of hitting that is all that little granule inside of the tire.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So that's part of an impact itself. And then emergency braking, Mike. This is for you.
Okay, I'm watching.
Emergency braking, you can flat spot your tires. And of course, you get the bounce and the vibrations that way as well.
Flat spot it.
That's when in the racing.
I've done that on rent cars.
In racing, where you come into the pits and you skid into the pits, it's a flat spot. They're flat spotting the tire, so that's part of it as well.
Well, much harder to do in today's vehicles since everything's got ABS.
ABS
on
braking.
Not if you put the emergency brake on.
Or your ABS module is still 18 months till you can get it.
Take that handbrake, yank it all the way up.
Yeah.
And get those rear tires just locked up. You're going down the freeway at 60 miles an hour, nobody around you, of course.
Or you
hit that emergency brake, and you can still steer it.
There you go.
What?
Nice.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Something?
Why?
Just because it's a rent car.
Wear and tear.
You can.
Wear and tear of the tires. We skipped it. That's okay. Wear and tear is just general. When you go in Texas, you get state inspections.
Yeah.
The state inspection is allowing 3 millimeters of the wear bar. You'll see a wear bar in between the treads.
Yeah.
Right.
Tires, it actually goes bad at like 1.5, so that if you wear that down as well. So be aware of that. Your tread depth is important for snow, for water, for just general driving down the road.
Safety.
There are companies, tire companies, Continental does this, where they have a DWS in the actual tread block, where it's dry, wet snow. So if it's S, it's only certain depth in that tread block. Wet is a little bit deeper, and then dry is a little deeper than that. So when the S wears off, you have no more snow capability. When the W wears off, you have less wet traction, wet capability.
So is anybody out there retreading anymore?
There are retreaders. But not necessarily for car tires, but for like the truck tires.
Yeah. When you can't put retread tires on the front drive wheels.
And if you have a
Steering
puncture and you have a plug patch, you actually decrease the speed index by 1 degree.
All right. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show streams on the iHeart Radio app, iHeart, Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast channel. In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Hey, Houston, America's greatest hot rod tradition is back. Thanksgiving weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Auto-Rama at at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, performance cars, and live music. Do not miss the Ultimate Lowrider Showcase, sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models. On the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration, meet Bad Chad and wife Jolene from Bad Chad Customs on Friday. Saturday, it's Dave Kindig from TV's Bitchin' Rise. Sunday, it's Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 25th to 28th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts, part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
It's the N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. This segment, we head to the Great Northwest for a chat with the Lilienthals.
Sweet.
Conrad will have the N-Wheel Time Car Clinic, and we'll also take a look and talk about this week's auto news. Howdy, along with Mike out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We always need more. Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad you could join us now to the Great Northwest. We hope that's where they are. Here they are, Mercedes and Andy Lilienthal. Good morning, you guys. How are you?
Good morning. Doing all right. Hanging in there. Thanks for having us on the show.
Where are you?
We're home. We're home for like another 24 hours, and then we hit the road again. We just got back from the 2022 SEMA show in Las Vegas. We were there last week. We're here for about 2 days, and then we hit the road for Denver, Colorado.
You know, you guys have become kind of like the
Traveling Wilburys.
Well, I was going to say the Kindig car show. I mean, you guys have become superstars. I'm thinking that at the next Autorama, you guys are going to have an appearance, a 4-hour party, a signing, if you will, up there at the guest booth. What do you think?
Hey, you never know.
Yeah. Hey,
So did you drive to SEMA?
We actually did not. Got on an airplane, so. But we are driving to Denver, so.
Yep.
What vehicle are you taking?
We're taking our Mitsubishi Delica van. We're going to have some work done on it from a company called Agua, and it's a Czech-based company. They build some really cool interior, modular interior van setups, and for trucks and vans and SUVs, so you can sleep in them and cook with outside and all that kind of stuff. So excited to.
Are you having those modifications done to the van?
Yes. Yeah, we're finally going to. I have a ridiculous sleeping platform that my buddy and I built that I call it the Whammo Silly Sleeper because it moves all around and it's terrible. You can barely sit upright in it. So it was time for an upgrade.
The Whammo.
Yeah. And I noticed that Mercedes was laughing the entire time that you were describing it. She's going, oh, my God, I can't believe
the undulations.
that I've been in this van in that. Yeah, I can only imagine.
It's very temporary. It's recycled wood, scrap wood that we had. They built it up enough to, for us to be able to haul all the show gear, the booth gear, for overland shows and things like that underneath it. So it got us through. But when we saw Eggway, and they had, it's called the Nest Box. That's their camping setup. So you can camp, you can eat, you can sleep out of these. And they're modular, and they use the existing tie downs. So we talked to the company and said, hey, we're both journalists. We'd love to use it. Review it, test it out, see how it goes, and see if it even fits in a Delica. So we're driving down there to their U.S. headquarters to Denver to check it out next week. So more on that coming soon.
Good. So, what have you got? Well, okay, so you clearly have been to the SEMA show. What did you do there? What did you find out? What's the latest with that?
I was there with Warren Industries. We were showing off our latest products and builds and so on and so forth. Actually, Warren Industries, Fab Force, Fab 55, and Fab Tech in one booth. And then, but of course, SEMA shows like the pulse of the industry. Lots of really cool builds, all kinds of things to see.
And I was there as media. Usually when we go to a lot of the shows, Andy's there as vendor, I'm there as media. So I ran around everywhere and took a bunch of photos and had the chance to meet some people that I've grown to be friends with online. I've interviewed and have never met them in person, and met them in person among a lot of familiar faces. So it was not quite the pre-COVID SEMA, but it was getting there. I think a lot of people are really excited to get out there and see some really fabulous products and builds.
So I have to ask, did you actually have a place to post all of the stuff that you wrote and took pictures of?
So far, SEMA is such a long day and a lot of miles that you hoofing it back and forth in between the halls. So far, I've been posting on stories and social via Crankshaft Culture on Instagram, and also my name, so Mercedes _ Lilienthal at Instagram, or on Instagram. So there will be articles coming out. Haven't gotten to that quite yet. We literally just got back home, so it's one of my many tasks to do this weekend. I'm pulling the middle seats out.
Well, I'm waiting for you guys to have a website called The Lilienthals.
There you go.
And then you can do anything that you want and post anything on, find out about Andy and Mercedes. I want to know all of the stuff that it's kind of like a cult following here.
I haven't quite figured out how to clone myself yet, or Andy for that matter, but we're trying.
Well, while you're doing the articles, he can do the laundry to get you going for the next thing.
Yeah,
I want to hear about Alcan. I want to hear about the trip, the other trip.
Oh, Alcan trip.
Which trip? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which trip?
In there.
The Alcan 500. Tell everybody what it is first.
Yeah, Alcan 5000 is a 5,000 mile. It's part road rally, part time speed distance competition. Starts in Kirkland, Washington, and then goes north. This went as far north as Dawson City in the Yukon Territories. But we also dipped into Skagway, Alaska, and then we went as far east as Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, and about 1,500 miles of dirt. And just for some sort of a reference, 1,500 miles of dirt is like driving from Arizona to Jasper, Alberta, Canada, without touching pavement. So, or from LA to Jasper without touching pavement. So
a long while.
It's a lot of driving.
And you did this in the Delica?
No, we did this in a 2022 Subaru Outback Wilderness. We partnered with Subaru of America on that.
Nice choice.
They provided that vehicle, and it was pretty much the perfect vehicle for that kind of.
Yeah, because last time we talked to you, that's what you were getting ready to go on. The last time we talked to you, and Mike was saying they're not back yet. So here you are.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. The crew over at Subaru, they make such great all-wheel drive cars. It was the perfect car for that type of rally. I mean, you're doing 10 days, 5,000 miles, like Andy was saying. And what's interesting is it's part time, speed, distance competition, and then part long transits. So time, speed, distance, it's not like a race, go fast, go crazy, go, get there as quick as you can. You have to. So, for instance, I've got my route book here. I don't know if you can see any of my chicken scratchings here, but they give you a huge route book that you have to follow in part specifically by a certain speed, by a certain length of odometer with mileage. Turn here, go this, change this speed, this and this and this, whatever. And they usually have those in the morning. But then you might have a 539-mile transit to the afternoon time, speed, distance challenge. So there's a lot that goes with it, but the Subaru Wilderness did a pretty darn good job to keep us on track, keep us on point on the roads. The all-wheel drive system was really fantastic, especially in a lot of the slop that we got into.
How many vehicles were in
the
there?
car? Was the car all painted up down the sides? Here come the Lilienthals or something?
It did have a livery on it that Subaru designed. Our names were on the side of it. There were a total of 27 cars.
28 cars, I believe, and 17 motorcycles.
Wow.
So the Alcan 5000 rally is like the Olympics, where it's every other year, and then there's the winter, then there's the summer, then there's the winter. So if you guys remember, you guys had us on, I believe, for the 2020 winter one, where we took our
Right.
right-hand drive diesel, our
Right.
Pajero. This year was summer. So so the summer one allows dual sport motorbikes, adventure bikes, motorcycles. So it was really interesting to ride alongside those guys, because, man, there's just one person and they have to do it all. They have to navigate, they have to ride or drive. It just hats off to those guys.
These guys are the real road warriors. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, that's a lot of miles on two wheels. There was even one team that had a sidecar, and a guy he was actually a quadruple amputee, and he did the thing, and it was amazing. But these guys roll in off the dirt sections for the day, just covered in dirt and mud. But we had it pretty cushy. That Outback was, has leather seating and heated seats and air conditioning, and the guys on the motorcycles were just out there, wind in their face. So
Eating bugs.
Yeah, bugs in their
Yeah.
teeth.
When we're worried about, the thickness of the crust from the Northwest Territories, and we've got a video on, I think, Crankshaft Culture. We did very extensive in YouTube, extensive daily reels. So if you visit our Instagram and Facebook page, you'll be able to see all the kind of recap coverage and all the videos and photos we did. We've got one segment of where Andy, there's a huge Alcan 5000 logo on the door, and we knew exactly where it was. He took a credit card and started just scraping off the dirt, because you couldn't. We had to get the rear brake lights clean, because we got out, we went to the bathroom, the FB somewhere in Northwest Territories. Went, oh my gosh, nobody could even see our brake lights. It was so caked on. It was beyond anything we've ever seen before. It was incredible.
I'm told they use calcium chloride on the roads up there in the summertime to get the roads to be harder.
And
we saw a water truck, but apparently they mix it with calcium chloride to harden that dirt, and it also sticks like Adobe to the side of the car. So
Think about the motorcyclists.
Wow.
They're wearing it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Well, so let's now switch gears and let's talk about the Rebelle Rally.
Yeah, so the Rebelle Rally is a yearly competition, and that's all women. It's map and compass based, so there's no GPS allowed. And this year I partnered with my navigator, Emily Winslow. She's based out of Seattle, Washington, where we're in Oregon, and partnered with Jeep. And so I was one of the 3 Jeep teams, part of corporate, and we drove their 2023 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe plug-in hybrid.
And how did the plug-in hybrid do off-road?
It did great. It was what was awesome about that, and we both only had the opportunity to drive one. Gosh, what was it? 2 years ago, right when they first came out,
Right.
There's a fleet vehicle that we drove, and we got the okay to take it off the pavement and do some off-roading in it with full EV mode and really test it out for articles. That vehicle is so great because there's instant torque, there's instant power because it has that battery assist to it, and you can run it in all EV mode. I think it's got 21 miles of all EV mode, so it's great. So, for instance, if you've got really technical sections of the Rebelle on the trails where it's really rocky or really steep, you can literally cut the engine and hear what the car is doing. So you can feel, where it's going. You can hear it. You can hear the rocks crunching underneath you, that type of thing. And it's really neat. It's like, oh, there are grasshoppers everywhere. I can hear them whizzing by me instead of just hearing the chug of an engine. So it's pretty cool.
Now, did you have to stop and plug it in at any time?
We did, yeah. So we plugged it in every night. There is a remote base camp that kind of follows the rally. So I think we had 4 base camps total. And a company called Renewable Innovations, they have a couple of different setups. They have a big a dual sunflower solar unit that actually powers base camp. And then they have a mobile truck unit that's a semi-trailer that usually it can run off of hydrogen. And this is the first time at Base Camp 4 that they actually did successfully run off of hydrogen. They've been having issues getting hydrogen in that far deep into the desert, and companies, accidentally saying, yeah, we can't, anymore. We don't have the supplies, whatever, what have you, but they can run on diesel. So they have historically run on diesel to supply it, which is kind of an oxymoron a bit, but it's still such at the forefront for being able to plug in a car in the middle of the desert and being able to run it off-road in EV, in EV form, like the VW last year that it did with the ID4. As technology is going, as hydrogen becomes more readily available and that type of thing, I know that they want to run on hydrogen the whole time. So, but that's what we did. So we made sure we were topped off in both fuel and electricity, but watts, so to speak, every night.
Yeah.
We want to be you.
Yeah.
Kind of what I was thinking. Could you adopt me? I could write. You tell me what to write.
These wrinkles in front of the computer 20 hours a day. Yeah. There's
All
a
right.
lot behind that
Well,
goes on.
let's go back to where we started and talk about SEMA a little bit. And what stood out to you at SEMA? If you walked the floors for 4 days, something had to really pop for you.
This year for me, there was a lot of really cool retro, vintage, resto mod kind of vehicles that stood out. Being a fan of the oddball stuff, there was a builder who had and I'm not sure what year it was, but there was a totally retro, believe it or not, a Pinto wagon.
Oh, yeah.
Window in the back. But they had put in, I believe it was the 2.3 liter Ford EcoBoost 4-cylinder under the hood. But they had, the retro wheels on it, the retro paint job, but this modern 2.3 liter. That thing was awesome. There was a Porsche that was done in a safari style that was just killer too. It was just awesome.
Then they had this thing. I don't know if you can see that very
With
well.
the tracks. Yeah.
An AMC Gremlin on tracks. So we saw lots of wild resto mod, vintage, that kind of stuff, and that was really cool for me.
Did any of the EVs stand out for you at all?
You know what was interesting is there was a number of EV conversions this year that, like, more than just one or two. There were people. There was even in the Jeep booth.
Mm-hmm.
They had a CJ that had been swapped to electric, and so we're starting to see this proliferation of EV into the aftermarket. So there are companies out there that are swapping over Land Rovers and Jeeps and all kinds of other vehicles. So yeah, there was definitely more EVs this year, and not just like, oh, here's a new EV from Nissan or Volkswagen, but hey, look, we took a Jeep CJ and we turned it into an EV.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a whole electrified section. I'm trying to look for my in my photos here, but there's a whole electrified section back in one of the halls, and it was really interesting to go back there and actually check everything out. You're like, wow, there's this total race car, there's this, there's that, there's so many different builds that are out there, and the VW booth actually had a couple of their different ID4s. And to my surprise, the one that I actually rallied last year in the Rebel Rally was there. I was pretty humbling to just see our name still on there, and it's funny. About a week or two ago, a couple of friends of ours pinged me on Facebook and Instagram and said, "Hey, Jay Leno's got your car." I'm like, "What?" And I had no idea what was going on. Apparently, Jay Leno was with Tanner Faust, and they Jay had driven the ID4 for a bit, and then they were driving vintage Bugs. I don't have cable; I didn't see the episode, but I thought it was pretty cool.
What was the biggest booth out there? Who had that?
Probably Toyota this year. So Ford decided not to go this year. Toyota took their spot. It spans the entire width of Central Hall, and they had Lexus and Toyota. They had everything from the new Toyota Corolla GR, the fire-breathing all-wheel drive Corolla, to Lexus Overland style builds, and
Sequoia, built up things from Expedition Overland, and
So that was a really big booth. I think that was probably the biggest booth. Some of the aftermarket companies had some pretty big booths as well, but I think that Toyota one was probably the biggest. Yeah.
So I'm going to direct this to Mercedes. Who had the prettiest booth? We say that because we have a friend of ours here locally that prepared a Jeep Grand Wagoneer from the 70s, I guess it was, and you need to pull your microphone down, sir.
He did the chassis, he did the body work, he put an LS motor in it, and Laura Ashley did the interior, and now the Jeep is going to travel with Laura Ashley. So I don't know if you had
I don't know if you saw that or not, but those kinds of things I thought were really unique, and especially the interior of this with the Laura Ashley interior. It's kind of like, You like it or you don't like it, but whatever the case may be, it definitely high-end all the way. And I know that all those cars out there. We also have another friend of ours that has a company called Paint House here locally. He does some of the most beautiful paint work we've ever seen on an automobile, and he always wins awards.
No, there were so many pretty vehicles in booths. I mean, some of the most iconic ones is, what was it, that gold, that pinstriped and metal flake and multicolored Impala that was slammed?
There were a
That
number
was
of
gorgeous.
There were a number of really kind of traditional, old school lowriders with those unbelievable, absolutely world class, multi-layer paint jobs with metal flakes and pinstripes and I mean,
colors.
these are they're unbelievable. Like, I don't even know how you do. Actually, I don't know how you do it. It's incredible the amount of time and effort that goes into some of these lowrider paint jobs. But there were actually, a number of those. I think we're seeing a resurgence. Well, I know we're seeing a resurgence in kind of 80s and 90s things that were cool. I mean, there was even a couple of mini trucks from the 90s with dancing beds on.
And never got over there. Yeah. I always love the tilt bed trucks and the ones that have dancing beds. And I saw them and thought, no way. That's how 89 met is. Through Chicago at the Headport Night Show way back when in 2000, and I always put the lowrider show down there, and that's kind of where I came from. I said, no, I'm looking at this, but I loved everything imports, and to see the resurgence of that type of style and people going back to their family roots, and maybe COVID has helped shape that again, where people go, you know what, I've got a certain heritage, let's bring that up and let's celebrate it.
Everything comes back in style.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we love that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for bell bottoms to come back.
Oh, they already are. I'm wearing mine right now. Listen, we got an audio problem with you guys. We don't know what's happened with the internet, but whatever the case may be, we see you and kind of hear you in an echoey kind of way. But we wanted to thank you both so much for taking the time to talk to us. I know you're busy, and we love talking to you guys. And so whenever you get a chance, check in with us. We always like to hear what's going on with you, the Lilienthals.
Thank you very much.
We love you guys. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon. If we don't talk to you, have a happy holiday season. All right. Mercedes and Andy Lilienthal.
Very cool people.
They
I
are.
like them.
How did we hook up with them?
Connect with them.
Mr. Mars is over there.
Probably
in
the
another
Rebel
world.
Rally. Or one of those.
I think it was
Alcan.
their Delica. I think it was one of the
The
vehicles
Delica?
that
It
he
was
saw.
started with the Rebel Rally. She was involved with that, and that kind of led to another.
Yeah.
But when Mike wanted a suggestion this week, I said we haven't had the Lilienthals.
We had them scheduled for the first weekend of December because that was the first weekend they were available. So they agreed to move it
Very
up.
cool. Very cool people.
Yeah, most definitely. Love to talk to them. They're so fun. And we didn't know that he works for Warren Winch.
Winch.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
That's
yeah.
always been his not sponsor, but his.
I know, but that's not how we or why we got in touch with them.
No, not
Completely
at all.
different deal.
Yeah.
And when we found that out, it was like, wow, well, let's talk about winches.
Exactly. That very cool stuff.
Yep. All right. Like to remind you that you just shoot us an email anytime that you'd like to talk to us, info@nwheeltime.com. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic.
All right.
Let's do that, shall we?
Let's fix something.
Let's talk a little bit about what causes damage to catalytic converters besides the guy
Stealing them?
jumping underneath it with a
With a
sawzall
Sawzall.
trying to cut it off. Excessive exhaust emissions, under normal conditions, the car exhaust is expected to contain small amounts of unburned fuel and hydrocarbons, and those can be poisonous to a catalytic converter. But when you start having problems such as misfires, vacuum leaks, dirty air filters and stuff, that compounds the issues that your catalytic converter is going to experience. If your car isn't burning the fuel efficiently, your catalytic converter will have to deal with more poisonous nasties than it can handle. Over time, it overloads the converter, and those contaminants can lead to premature converter death. And, that's one of the things in Harris County that is part of the state inspection is your catalytic converter. Not only is it there, but the computer on the car determines whether or not it's working efficiently.
Put a sniffer.
No, they don't put a sniffer. They just jump into your computer and let your computer.
Well, they used to put a sniffer.
Oh, yeah, but that was years ago. Yeah, now they just depend on the quality of the diagnostics in the vehicle. So it's looking for a inefficient converter code, which is a P0420 or P0421. But another thing that can damage catalytic converters is oil contamination. The converter can be damaged because of evaporating oil in your system. Oil does have vapors, and those vapors, again, are drawn through the PCV system and dumped into the induction system, and those get burned in the induction system and pumped into the catalytic converter. Converters are designed to clean the hydrocarbons of fuel, not the hydrocarbons of oil, because with the oil it brings other contaminants with it. So oil vapors have a real big reason to cause your converter to fail earlier, and most people don't realize that. So if your car is burning oil, pay attention, because you want to get something done about that, because it's going to damage your converter relatively quick. If the converter isn't operating as it should, the engine power may decrease, fuel economy decreases as well, and there's no reduction in the poisonous gases exiting your engine. At this point, the only solution is a costly catalytic converter replacement. And catalytic converters, depending on the vehicle, $400 to $3,000 for some. And people are learning that as they're getting their converters stolen. But you can incur that same expense just because your converter fails, because you aren't maintaining the vehicle properly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
I have a bad dealer story.
Oh.
A Florida woman was arrested for grand theft following an investigation into a Chevrolet dealership's payroll. Ariel Rutenbach, 32, was taken into custody Wednesday for allegedly altering payroll at Dimmitt Chevrolet in Clearwater, Florida, about 20 miles west of Tampa, according to an arrest affidavit from Clearwater Police. As one of two people with access to the payroll system, the police report alleges Rutenbach assigned herself $28,179.10 in authorized bonuses between May 20th and July 2022. May 2020 to July 2022.
So she wasn't stealing much.
I guess.
Well,
Police records show she turned herself in at the local jail and is out on a $5,000 bond. She's charged with grand theft, a second-degree felony.
Because nobody spends time in jail anymore.
You naughty, naughty girl, stealing from the car dealership. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we are going to finish out today's show with more.
A bang.
With a bang.
With a bang.
A bang for the buck. All right, so stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, Houston, America's greatest hot rod tradition is back. Thanksgiving weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama at the George R. Brown Convention Center. 4 action-packed days of hot rods, customs, classics, trucks, performance cars, and live music. Do not miss the Ultimate Lowrider Showcase, sponsored by Shorty's Hydraulics, and the Traditional Rod Garage. Saturday only, it's the Tuner Galleria with 250 imports, JDM, and luxury cars, plus music and models. On the celebrity stage, presented by Nick's Auto Repair and Classic Car Restoration, meet Bad Chad and wife Jolene from Bad Chad Customs on Friday. Saturday, it's Dave Kindig from TV's Bitchin' Rise. Sunday, it's Danny Coker and Kevin Mack from TV's Counting Cars. Shop the swap meet and women's world all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. November 25th to 28th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summer Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
Starting to work on your Christmas calendar? Be sure to add the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In Saturday, December 17th. You'll want to attend Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition at the Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. It's the only place cruisers compete for Loopy's Chili Pepper trophies and other prizes. There's no charge to enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, or Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest and most unique cruise-in, and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods. And get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos with adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for those much sought-after custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. It's the Tailpipes and Tacos Christmas Edition, Saturday, December 17th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate the Christmas season with friends and family at Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, December 17th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeartRadio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeartRadio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeartRadio app, search for In Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Wheel Time Car Talk.
Well, you know what that means.
What? What does
That's
that mean?
a wrap for this week's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. When you're online, check out our Facebook page, give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk if you would, please. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long, and all for free, including new car reviews, upcoming events, cruise-ins, racing events, and other goodies. You can find the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. In Wheel Time can also be heard and seen live on Facebook, YouTube, and on InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central Time. 30-minute podcasts available from your favorite podcast providers 7 days a week. In Wheel Time, Chief Engineer is the fabulous and famous David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For booking agent and podcast editor Mike Mars and Mr. Know-It-All, his royalty King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Today's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is produced by Shirley Q. Liquor. All right. Be sure to join us for the next 3-hour In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, Saturday, November 12th, 2022, starting at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on all of our In Wheel Time Car Talk outlets right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Have a great weekend. Until next time, car lovers, don't forget to turn your clocks forward. Backward. Just do something with it.
Fall back.
It's fall back, isn't it?
Yes, go back an hour.
It's spring
fall
forward.
back.
Fall back tonight.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Go Astros.
Goodbye.